started requiring COVID-19 tests for all passengers arriving from China as infections surge in China.
The move came as Japan faced a rising number of cases and record-level deaths at home. The recent daily death count in Japan has exceeded 400, which is higher than at the peak of an earlier wave in August, when they exceeded 300. All people who test positive for COVID-19 will be quarantined for up to 7 days at designated...
That's what we are, where we came from. Pele is our roots.
Cristiano Ronaldo called Pele an inspiration for so many millions. A reference of yesterday, today, always. I'm Ed Donahue.
Indiana joining a growing list of states that has blocked Chinese social media app TikTok from all state devices. More on these stories, townhall.com.
What in the wide, wide world of sports is going on here? I promise you, whatever scum did this, not one man in this force will rest for 1 minute until he's behind bars. Now let's grab a bite to eat. Yeah, come on.
I feel the hot wind on my shoulder and the touch of a world that is older. I hit the switch and check the number. I leave it on and then I slumber. I hear the rhythm ringing through it. Flamenco guitar and cumbia music. I hear the talking of the DJ. Let's have a listen. What does he say? I'm on a Mexican radio. I'm on a Mexican radio.
Broadcasting live from high atop the J.P. White Building in downtown Roswell, New Mexico. It's Mornings with Mike Winters on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM.
Is that what I sound like when I talk?
Now, here's your host, Mike Winters.
And good morning, one and all. Welcome to Mornings with Mike Winters. I am he. That would be me, Mike Winters. Happy New Year's Eve. Everybody.
Should old acquaintance be forgot and never brought to mind?
That's according to the song. And it's not old. It's old. Just for people looking it up.
Should
old, A-U-L-D.
O-L-D.
Just, you know, just to help you out if you're doing your Google search in there.
How was that song never charted? It's sung every year all around the world at least once.
Yeah.
It's like you'd think it'd be right up there with Mariah Carey's All I Want for Christmas Is You.
You'd think.
I mean, it's up there, right?
I guess maybe because...
It's never had a hip Ed Sheeran cover.
Yeah.
That's what we need.
That's what it is. No one's ever covered it. Because quite frankly, it's...
Come on, Post Malone.
It's not a song.
This is your time.
People want... maybe Weird Al could do a version.
There you go.
Weird Al do a version, then everybody would know it.
See it happening.
But happy Friday.
Indeed.
It is a McDonald's Friday for us.
Indeed it is. Let me label out here.
That's right. Got you have cheese Danish and orange juice.
A weird combo, admittedly.
I will say that's quite the combo. How does that taste together?
You know, I'm going to find out.
Okay.
I know, I was just in a weird mood. I was like, I'm feeling a little low on the vitamin C, so we'll go OJ, but kind of feeling cheese Danish this morning.
All right. So OJ and cheese.
That's right. OJ and cheese in the morning.
Oh, man. So, but big thank you to McDonald's.
Yes, indeed.
Swing by any location near you. They got you covered. Don't forget to download that McDonald's app and start utilizing that, working up your rewards and deals.
Dude, I'm in some rarefied air at this point.
Yeah. See, I keep losing points.
You're losing points?
They keep saying, you got to use these points. 1,500 are going to expire by a certain date. And then I go like, okay. And then I start to use it and I find a deal and don't use my points.
Trying to open it right now. I'm up to 15,901 points at this point. Yeah.
You're near me.
And like I'm saying, rarefied air, so I'm waiting for them to come at me and be like, yo, using points, homie.
Yeah,
of course,
they
I
do
regularly use the points. Like, I'll find myself just randomly using them to get a McChicken, at lunch, because it's 1,500 points.
Yeah.
It's 1,500 points, and you got all of them sitting right there.
I'm swimming in points.
That's right.
But definitely download it, give it a try. You too can be just like, man, it's a tough decision because I get the deals. And like last time I saw a deal where it was like get a 6-piece chicken nugget or a McDouble for like buy one get one free. And I was like, well, that's what I want right now. So I got 2 McDoubles and boop, boop, and there it was.
I've been pretty regularly using just the 20% off.
Yeah, that one's a pretty staple.
And that's actually how I've been accruing most of the points. Is I'll just be in the drive-through line, pop open the app, grab the 20% off thing, get the code, give them the code at the drive-through, and then order like I normally do, and it's just 20% off.
Nice.
Yeah, super simple. You're losing money if you don't have this app.
Or if you don't, if you want to pay and do everything through the app, you can do all that, and then you really, literally just roll up. They say, "Are you going to use your mobile order today?" You say, "Uh-huh," and then they give you a 4-digit code. And you give them that code, and then you drive around to the second window. They hand you food, and then you leave. It's very quick and easy and simple. I love it.
It is.
Yeah. So download the app, give it a dance, and trust me, you're going to make others around you happy. You know, when you're trying to pull in through the McDonald's around lunchtime, and there's like 50 cars going through drive-through, and they're trying to figure out which lane to go into, and there's always a few people that are screwing that process up because they can't do it right.
Right.
And you could alleviate that by just having your mobile order. So when you roll up, it's like B7 or BZ22, and then you roll out into the next thing, and then you're gone. So,
by the way, when you pull into a McDonald's, there are 2 separate lanes for the drive-through. Let's utilize both of them. It drives me nuts how there's always one line that snakes into 2. It's like, that's not how this works, people. Let's queue up to 2 separate lines.
Yeah. So, especially around the lunch hours and the busy hours where they're, sometimes they get backed up to the street almost. But you could speed that up. Go mobile, and then you order in and out. Boom, and you're on amongst your day there. So.
It's a real baller move too. You just like walk up, grab the bag, walk out.
And if you're that person that rolls up in the minivan with 30 people in it, the kids, and you're like trying to get, I need a 6-piece, one with barbecue, one with sweet and sour. I need a Happy Meal. I need a sundae with no nuts. You're doing that whole rigmarole, and the kid's like, no, I want nuts. Hold on, put nuts on it. That whole nonsense. Yeah. Boom, boom, boom. Do all that through the app, in and out, and everyone's happy. It is perhaps a mental health saver.
Indeed. It's a miracle of modern technology.
Absolutely. So big thank you to McDonald's. Download that app today and give her a little dance.
Yes, indeed.
Maybe that's a New Year's resolution. Get more tech savvy in 2023.
That's right.
Start with downloading the McDonald's app.
Bump up that app game.
Absolutely. Let me give you the rundown for today's show. We'd have no guest scheduled. It's the day before New Year's Eve, so it's kind of quiet. So we'll chit-chat this hour. Talk about fine things like McDonald's and other things.
Sure.
We're going to replay some interviews in the 8-9. Matt Bristol office, talking about year-end, assessing your finances and your legal, when the holidays, when family's over and all that. Talk about that. And then in the 9 o'clock hour, we had, in the middle of the month, Dennis Kentai and Gina Yeager join us from the district attorney's office. They're going to be, the DA's office will be coming in each month and kind of give us an update and talk about what they got going on and the job and what it's about, and kind of educate the public a little bit on what they do at the DA's office. So we had our first little interview, had a great conversation with Gina and Dennis. So we'll play that for you about 9:15 or so this morning.
It's very odd to see former mayor of Roswell walking around with a sidearm.
Well,
it's just a little off-putting.
Well, when he wasn't marrying, he was law enforcementing. So
I know.
He's had a gun around his hip for a long time.
And had I known him when he was in that realm, I'm sure I would be much more used to it. But it's very odd. It's just very, it's very surreal. It's one of those things. It's like when I was in high school and I witnessed my principal walking out of a liquor store. It was one of those very interesting moments. It's like, you don't usually see people like that in that light. So it's just kind of a surreal moment.
Did you see the selection of beverage or choice
I did,
there?
but it was just a brown paper bag.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Like hobo style?
Well, see, at this point, I've already said when I've graduated, so people could go ahead and backtrace that and figure out who it was. So I'm just going to go ahead and say less.
Okay. All right.
For the sake of saving face, I'm going to say less.
Pretty sure they don't care at this point.
I know.
Some 20 years later, it's like, that guy bought a bottle of hooch. Oh. But anyway, I was saddened to learn that we lost Pele yesterday.
Yeah.
82.
That was one of those, nobody ever thinks about, I shouldn't say nobody ever thinks about Pele, but it's been a long time.
Well, if you grew up in the 70s and 80s, Pele was a household name. Mm-hmm. He just was, I'm sure you all saw in the tributes to his death or to his life yesterday, and talking about he was the youngest World Cup winner, 3-time World Cup, all his soccer accomplishments, and he's kind of the Joe Montana or Michael Jordan, LeBron for your younger generation.
He's
of soccer,
Cristiano Ronaldo of soccer.
Yeah. My uncle brought him up just the other day.
Yeah,
actually,
really,
because we were talking about the World Cup.
Oh, okay. You know what? And maybe this is just because the time I was kind of put on this earth and everything, and just being old enough to, I was like a little kid in the 70s. I was 7 when the 70s ended. Mm-hmm. So, I was a little younger during the time of his heyday of soccer playing.
Right.
But to be honest, this is what I know him best for. Like, this is what put him on the radar for me initially, and then everything blew up from there. He did a few movies and things over.
I didn't know that he
over his career
ever like an actor.
Yeah, he was uber famous. He was doing commercials, and like he was a household name because of his marketing and his he really did a good job of George Foreman himself.
Yeah,
if you could say if you want a comparison to someone a little bit
more
modern.
That's about accurate, because I remember Pele for being like a public spokesperson in like the 90s.
Yeah, but he did a movie that that was big, relatively big on radar at the time for movies. It's not like Jurassic Park type numbers today, but for 1981, it was a pretty big movie in the pop culture scene there. It was called Victory,
right?
And it was based off a true story. It starred Michael Caine, who was the coach of the soccer team. Sylvester Stallone, young svelte Sylvester Stallone,
mm-hmm.
Pele, and a few other soccer players that were famous of the. Well, the whole premise, it was based on a true story from World War II era, where there is a bunch of Allied POWs mm-hmm. in a German or Axis prison camp,
right?
And basically, they get challenged to a soccer match. The guards, the camp. Versus the prisoner.
We are going to have fun, yes?
Yeah. But here was the rub, was the German prison soldiers or whatever were saying, you take a dive, lose the game, we'll set you free. You win,
right? And
we kill you.
So you could go out and get set free.
Mm-hmm.
But if you win, you're going to be killed.
Mm-hmm. That was the premise of the. That's
look,
now.
I'm no expert. Take the dive.
Well, and it's been.
I understand pride, but for God's sake, take the dive.
It's been a while since I've seen the movie. In the movie, the movie's a little different than what really happens. If I remember right, in the true story it's based off of, the players actually win and are executed. They do not.
What is the point?
Because they're going to go out there. I get it. They'd rather
Dude, I'm a proud human being. I'm a proud person, but I value breathing.
It's a different mindset when you're a POW and you're a whole thing. I mean, it's just different shoes you're wearing right there. That's all I'm saying. And it's hard to make, I get what you're saying outside looking in.
Lose the battle to win the war of life.
Okay, but when you got a whole team of people that are willing to do it and then you're not, it's a whole thing. I'm just saying it's not as easy decision as one would think it would be.
I was going to say, tell that to Daredevil's father.
I'm just saying.
I don't know it.
You don't get it because you gotta be there. There's a camaraderie thing there when you get in a military or even there's a bigger thing than you.
Okay.
And
I got kids.
I understand that. These were guys in a German prisoner of war camp that their job is to escape no matter what. And to be honest, maybe they didn't trust the Germans. Oh, okay, we're going to take a dive, and you're probably going to shoot us anyway when we tell everybody we took a dive. You know, I mean, it's... But anyway, in the movie
willing
version...
to take that bet.
In the movie version, I believe they're building an escape tunnel.
Okay.
While they're practicing and all. So they're using the game as a diversion to yeah. But in real life, no. But anyway, it's a movie called Victory. I believe you can go on Prime and then rent it for $3 or something.
See, it's like, and we talked about this yesterday. We talked about this movie, and ever since then, it's just been in my head. It's like, lose. just lose. I mean,
it's, but, well, and here you look at it in this way.
It would be a much shorter movie. I'm just saying.
Well, it wouldn't even be a movie. You know, it's kind of like I think in their mind they're doing it for the sake of others.
I get it.
And it's unless you're in that shoes, it's hard for people to wrap their head around.
The logo on the sweaters and the boys on the ice. I get it. I understand.
But it was bigger than just sports.
I know. I know. But still,
it's hard to try to fathom it until you once you get that moment and other people are relying on you and you're relying on other people, and it's that when you're in the foxhole together, mindset's a little different.
It's kind of a spoiler alert to call your movie Victory, isn't it? Well, you're kind of giving away.
Well, and I want to say it was based off the book, which was called Something to Victory, and I don't remember off the top of my head which was it, but anyway,
that's one of the weirdest random facts I have is that the movie We Were Soldiers is based on the book We Were Soldiers Once ... and Young. I shouldn't know the full name of the book, but I do for some reason.
Yeah, this one I think the book or whatever was like Road to Victory or something. I can't remember what it was, but Something to Victory. But yeah, anyway, now I kind of I haven't seen that movie since I was a child.
I need to.
I might go ahead and dig it up on because I saw when I happened to look to see if it's available anywhere, and I saw it was like on Prime and like Google or something, and all of them you could rent it for like $2 or $3, something like that. So I might rent it and just watch it just to But it does. This stars a very big time Michael Caine in his heyday. Pele, of course. Sylvester Stallone. That's probably all the famous people you're going to recognize. The rest are famous soccer players of the time that weren't Pele, and it's a couple other guys. So, but Victory. But yeah, that's all I talked about all day yesterday when I saw that Pele had passed away was because that for me that's what, and then of course because he invented the bicycle kick, the whole that's what Pele's known for. In the we all do a Pele kick. And so I knew him for that. But I didn't want to say he was like, even like in that group where he ends up on like cartoons and stuff with like a la the Globetrotters and things like that. He was in that level of stuff. So
yeah, anyway. he was the best in his chosen sport for his generation.
And then of course he went back to Brazil and was a politician and everything else too. So he's had quite the full life outside of his He used that World Cup platform to kind of springboard into many other things.
Who is it? I found out the other day is just like randomly a president and like what's the Manny Pacquiao?
The boxer?
The boxer Manny Pacquiao is like the president of some random country.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it was on some documentary the other day.
Probably when he's from
Chile.
I don't know. I'm not sure where he's from.
I can't remember. It's either like Chile or Nicaragua or somewhere. I'm not sure exactly.
I don't want to bespoke, but isn't he from like Philippines area? Or
it might be. It might be the Philippines.
Yeah,
that's what it was. It popped up on that Pepsi "Where's My Jet" thing the other day.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's a former senator of the Philippines. That's what it is.
Okay.
That's like I was like, wait, Manny Pacquiao, the boxer.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, neat. I did not know that, but yeah.
I don't know how charismatic
it popped up on the
really
Pepsi thing because it came out in that documentary that in the Philippines in the 90s they ran this like thing where you could win a bunch of money and they it basically resulted in like firebombing, riots, and like 2 people dying.
Yeah, I remember. I never did finish that jet thing, so I never.
We finally finished it the other day. It's a very unsatisfying conclusion.
Aw.
They get nothing.
No. So
the court finds in favor of Pepsi.
Does he end up getting a jet, or is all that smoke and mirrors?
It's nothing.
Well,
okay.
Here's the thing, because the whole show.
Spoiler alert, by the way, if you're going to watch Pepsi, Where's My Jet?
Well, the whole show they show him like in like a hangar, like working on airplanes and. So does he have anything to do with airplanes, or
no.
That's just him just
Nothing
hanging
at
out?
all. Just him kicking it.
I thought maybe he was like he had his own little small airplane business.
What's crazy is like the people who end up involved, like Michael Avenatti.
Mm-hmm.
You know the
lawyer,
the
jail, yeah.
Which it's funny because did the whole thing while on house arrest. They even show it. There's like a green screen behind him, and then they flash the green screen.
His interviews and everything. Yeah,
turns into the hangar.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so it was unsatisfying in that the judge, who was a corporate judge, almost always finding in favor of the corporation, decided that it was absurd that someone would take it seriously. But the thing of it is, the guy who designed the commercial even said when he first did the design, irregardless of a disclaimer, that should have been there.
Well, they made it a bunch, like it was supposed to be more than 7 million.
It was originally 700. Mm-hmm. The guy designed it 700 million, but that didn't fit on the screen well, so he took it down to 70 million.
Yeah, I saw that part.
That's not a good round number, and then they dropped it down to 7 million.
Yeah,
which turns out was obtainable. So had they made it some stupid, unobtainable number, this never would have been a thing.
To be honest, and that's what I think.
There's a lot of ways that Pepsi should have.
The mere fact that the guy did it should tell you that it's within reach and they need to honor it. I mean, regardless if it's ridiculous, the man did it.
They made him an offer.
Said, you do
he
this,
turned down
we'll
the
give
offer.
you this. He did this.
And he got nothing for it.
At very minimum, maybe you can't officially give them a Harrier jet, but you can give him a value equating to it, whatever. 7 million or 20 million or whatever a jet goes for.
I shouldn't say nothing. He did get a lifelong friendship with the guy that he was basically in this case with, the older gentleman.
Yeah, the rock climbing.
The inexplicable weird relationship between the teenage boy and the older gentleman that's never really fully explained, but they're still real close and they climb mountains now.
You're right. It is.
It was a little off-putting.
It was when I saw it too. I was like,
I mean. Hey, you know what? Takes all kinds.
Is this grooming before they knew about grooming?
Takes all kinds to make a cake.
All right, it is 26 minutes after 7 o'clock. We haven't done any weather or anything else, so we probably should do that. Let's take a look at your weather.
I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton with your Pecos Valley weather. We have low pressure over our area and another storm system moving in from the Pacific Northwest, but the rain should hold off until Sunday night. It'll be fair today with our afternoon high in the upper 50s, mid-30s and clear for the overnight hours, warming into the mid-60s, and we get sunshine on Saturday, turning cloudy for New Year's Day and mid to upper 60s, showers Monday. That's your latest forecast. I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton.
Thank you, Steve. Currently 39 degrees here in Roswell. Humidity is at 53%. Winds currently out of the northwest at 5 miles per hour. They're saying there's a slight chance at some rain showers this morning before 8. So you got about another 30 minutes at looking at a slight chance at some rain. But cloudy through mid-morning. Gradually this will clear up, burn off. We'll expect a high of 56 today, so not quite as warm as yesterday. Winds will be out of the west at around 5 to 10 miles per hour. Tonight, we're looking at partly cloudy skies, overnight low of 34 degrees. Winds will be out of the southwest, 5 to 10 miles per hour. For your New Year's Eve tomorrow, partly cloudy, highs in the mid-60s, 66 officially. Winds will be out of the southwest, 5 to 10 miles per hour. Tomorrow night, to ring in the new year, expect mostly cloudy skies, overnight low of 38 with west winds 5 to 10. New Year's Day, mostly cloudy, highs near 64 with south winds 5 to 10. Sunday night, we're looking at a 30% chance at showers, mostly cloudy, overnight low of 39. And then Monday, when we are officially in 2023, mostly sunny skies, breezy with a high of 56. And looks like most of next week will be hanging around in the mid-50s for temperatures. All right, it is 7:28. Let's go ahead and do this. We'll take a quick commercial break. And then we'll go ahead and pause for news. Kim Commando as well. We'll be back on the other side. Don't go away. You're listening to Mornings with Mike Winters.
As you look forward to the new year, you may be making some New Year's resolutions for yourself. Things like exercising regularly, eating healthier, or something else that you may not do any longer than the first week of the year. How about you take a different approach for this year's resolution? Instead of focusing on yourself, come up with a resolution that can help others. Look around you and see where there's a need and resolve to meet that need. It could be helping out once a month at a local nonprofit. It could be writing an encouraging note every week to someone who's sick or dealing with a difficult time. It could be intentionally sharing the story of how God has made a difference in your life. At Country Club Road, we are making resolutions for the future with this mission: know Jesus and make Jesus known. We invite you to join us as we work together to develop our Vision 2030 plan titled For All That You're Going to Do. Happy New Year and God bless.
Join us at the Country Club Road Church of Christ for worship at 10 a.m. on Sunday, located on the corner of Country Club and Washington in Roswell.
Innovation, service, integrity, and knowledge. J.S. Ward and Son Insurance Agency. Auto and home, life and health, personal and commercial. Bonds too, since 1925, we have the coverage for you. Innovation, service, integrity, and knowledge. J.S. Ward and Son Insurance Agency.
ENMU Roswell welcomes new and returning students to register online and on campus for the spring 2023 semester. Prepare for brighter days ahead and learn new career skills in arts and sciences, technical and health education right here at home. Classes start January 17th. Talk with an advisor today. Call 575-624-7000 or log on to roswell.enmu.edu.
Success starts here. ENMU Roswell.
Buying a sewing machine from a big box store or online might seem like a bargain, but in this case, you really do get what you pay for. Just the machine. No lessons, no help with figuring out why it isn't working the way you expect, and no one close to fix it. Buying locally from an authorized retailer may cost a little more, but in the end, it will save you time, money, and aggravation. Come see me, Chris Ann, at So Easy Sewing, 200 East College Boulevard in Roswell, and let me show you why it pays to shop local. So Easy Sewing. You've never had it so easy.
At Roswell Honda, they want to earn your trust, then earn your business. Whether it's sales or service, their Spanish-speaking sales reps and service department techs will take great care of you. They have the largest selection of trusted pre-owned vehicles in the state, lower payments, and dependable vehicles. And if you need service, think Roswell Honda. With their multi-point inspection, you and your family can sleep well knowing your vehicle is ready for whatever the road of life throws your way. At Roswell Honda, they want to earn your business. 2177 West 2nd. The best burrito in the game just got a brand new location. Burritos and More, now open at 2506 North Main across from Goodwill in Roswell. So what makes Burritos and More the best burrito in the game? It's simple. The freshest ingredients, homemade tortillas, and a huge menu chock full of all your breakfast and lunch favorites. Plus, enchiladas, fajitas, quesadillas, combo platters, and so much more. Open Monday through Saturday 6 to 2 at 127 South Richardson and at their brand new location 2506 North Main across from Goodwill in Roswell. Burritos and More, the best burrito in the game.
Now your Pecos Valley News Update. I'm Jared Cirillo. A former Artesia rancher is named the 2022 New Mexico Cattle Growers Association Cattleman of the Year. Darrell Brown received the award during the Joint Stockmen's Convention December 14th through 17th in Albuquerque. He was born there in Albuquerque, but Brown took a job in 1985 in Artesia as a ranch manager for Yates Petroleum Fort Dinkus Ranch west of Artesia. While there, he fostered a partnership with Artesia Public Schools, allowing elementary school children to learn the inner workings of agriculture. New Mexico Attorney General Hector Balderas is asking that changes be made to rules proposed by the U.S. government as it processes damage claims from an historic wildfire sparked by forest managers. Balderas filed comments on the Hermit's Peak Calf Canyon fire assistance regulations this week, outlining his concerns over limitations on damages, the lack of a clear appeals process, and leadership of the team that will oversee the claims process. You're up to date. I'm Jared Cirillo reporting.
As we end this year, the good news for Tesla is, well, there isn't any. And what news there is just keeps getting worse. If you own a Tesla, or if you're thinking about buying one, don't. Not until you hear this. I'm Kim Commando, brought to you by Simply Safe. Get a free indoor security camera plus 20% off with interactive monitoring at simplysafekim.com. There have now been 41 confirmed Tesla autopilot or self-driving mode accidents, some fatal. All are being investigated by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, a federal agency. Last month, 2 more accidents related to Tesla's so-called full self-driving mode. One, an 8-car pileup that was caused by a Tesla Model S in the tunnel before the San Francisco Bay Bridge. Another was a Tesla Model 3 crash in Ohio. This week, the state of California banned Tesla from advertising its self-driving feature. Clearly, Tesla has a big problem on its hands. Are you ready to make their problem your problem? Try my longer daily podcast called Kim Commando today. Prices on everything are rising, but thanks to CarShield, I don't worry about how much it will cost to fix my car when it breaks down. CarShield's price will never go up, and they help handle everything. When I took my older Mercedes to the dealership for an inspection, I was told it needed over $4,000 in repairs. But thanks to my CarShield protection plan, I only had to cover the $100 deductible. They took care of everything the same day. No paperwork or headaches. And when you get coverage today, you'll lock in your price. So as long as you cover your car, you're protected from the rising cost of parts and repairs. CarShield has my back when my car breaks down. They can have yours too. Get coverage like I did. Go to carshield.com/Kim or call 800-858-2550 to save 10% on your plan. That's carshield.com/Kim or 800-858-2550. That's 800-858-2550 to save 10%. carshield.com/Kim.
Here's a Mornings with Mike Winters fun fact. 47.2% of all statistics are made up on the spot. Is this true? I'd say chances are about 50%. Here's Mike Winters.
And good morning. It is closing in on 7:36. Well, your opportunity to donate blood through Vitalant in 2022 has officially come to an end. However, if you'd like to donate in the new year, you have a plethora, a cornucopia, of opportunities to go out and donate blood. Your first opportunity in 2023 here in Roswell will be on Wednesday, January the 4th, next Wednesday, at the Vitalant office, number 3 Grand Avenue Plaza, from noon until 4 p.m. And everyone gets a T-shirt or a $10 gift card if you donate blood on that date. Sign up by calling Stephanie at Vitalant, 575-840-8178. Again, 575-840-8178 to get an appointment and do all that. So I've been seeing a rash of these videos, and I don't know if it's just because of the algorithm or whatever and all this, but you know how when you're on Facebook and they show you that little thing where they want you to check out these videos or little
the shorts,
little shorts, yeah,
or reels, I think they call it on Facebook.
Yes, yeah. So I've been getting a lot of those where people put various fruit, in a disc cooker. And then basically boil it down to liquid real quick, and then dump a bunch of popcorn in it. I've seen it done with watermelon. I've seen it done with
dragon fruit,
grapes.
I've never seen it done with grapes.
I saw it with green grapes just now. That's what spawned this.
It's a big trend right now on TikTok and all those short form videos.
I'm wondering how much it tastes like the fruit, because.
Okay, so first of all, I think it's the fruit they're dropping. I think they drop it into oil. So the oil, it's actually taking on the flavor of the. In the case of the video I watched, dragon fruit, and then the popcorn. I would assume because it's popped in that oil, it has to at least have a coating like it.
Well,
it's like kettle corn, essentially.
Yeah, the popcorn's green or red or whatever color the fruit is.
Like I think that's how they do kettle corn, is just in that same way.
Maybe
they brew it or they make it in that. Well,
I guess my question is, like, when you purchase a watermelon flavored item or a grape flavored item,
it doesn't taste like watermelons or grapes.
It's because of the sugar and everything else. My point is that popcorn going to taste like grapes, like regular
I'd imagine
grapes?
It's probably just sweeter. It's got a sweetness to it.
Maybe. I just don't know. Is it? Or are you just eating green popcorn?
could be that too. Yeah, I'd definitely be intrigued to try it, but it always seems like it's in some country I'm never going to go to.
Yeah, I would say it doesn't look like. Yeah, it looks like it's in. And quite frankly, I'm a little scared to try it.
Dude, I like the idea.
I
like the idea of trying street foods in other countries.
Yeah,
it all seems so unsanitary, you know. And maybe that's just my American sensitivities or whatever. And,
no, I get you.
Being closed off.
Well, sure. We're used to, you go to a restaurant and there's standards and things, and if not, in street food, it is a bit of a Russian roulette.
It's just
type
like
scenario.
I see these really delicious looking like cakes that I'm sure that some lady in the back with pancake boobs probably flattened.
Well, I think part of the is if you're a local, your body's kind of it's why you don't drink the water in Mexico,
right,
or other places because your body isn't
it's
used
not
to drinking
adjusted to it. But it all looks so delicious, and Andrew Zimmern always made it look so amazing.
Oh yeah, Zimmerman, the Bizarre Foods guy, which he's a wackadoo. He's politically.
He's a whack job. Well, I don't know politics, but just in general, the stuff that he's willing to put in his body.
Well, and that's just it. Is he even the Bizarre Foods guy anymore? Because all I see him doing
that's not a show anymore, really. But
they show it all ad nauseum on.
Yeah, they had like 1,000 episodes. I'm sure.
Well, there was Bizarre Foods, and then it evolved.
Maybe he does have a new one. I don't know.
It evolved to like. Where it went from him eating the weirdest foods to just being more of a pull back the curtain and show the food of cultural food in various places. Like the original Bizarre Foods, originally I think he was more shock value, trying to look at this big, bug that's the size of your toe. Yeah, I'm going to start chowing down on this. And this is a thing. But you know what I mean? And then the show has now kind of evolved to, oh, well, here
Wild
we are in
Game Kitchen. Okay, he's on the Outdoor Channel now.
Is he?
It's his new series, Andrew Zimmern's Wild Game Kitchen, airs Mondays at 9 on the Outdoor Channel. Tune in for 3 hours of wild game culinary.
Okay.
Such and
well,
such.
and his show, the Bizarre Food Show, there was a lot of episodes where it showed him going out hunting and fishing with, and showing, where the food comes from, so to speak. And so the show kind of evolved. But the reason I wonder, because I was, as you get on this holiday week, there's usually a lot of marathons of shows. Very, depending on the channel, you get to like Paramount and stuff. They're showing Yellowstone all weekend, all week because of, the holiday week. But if you go to like the Food Network channels, they're showing shows like marathons of Beat Bobby Flay and whatever, Cake, whatever show. Or an HD's always, it's like a backyard renovator or whatever it is. But with Zimmerman, I was flipping channels one day, and they had some kind of one of those competition cooking shows where they're in some town, and they usually do it with like barbecue or something. This one was like bakery stuff, and these guys were baking cookies. It was a cookie bake-off, I think. And Andrew Zimmerman, whatever his name is, was one of the judges. And I'm just like, really?
He's a food personality. But
well, yeah. He's turned into, basically, he went from the Bizarre Foods thing to just basically another one of these Food Network hosts that show up and I'm going to be the host of Iron Chef or Beat Bobby Flay or Kulu, whatever, whatever show. Barefoot Tyrone, whatever it is. Their shows.
That would be a great. They should just do one season of Barefoot Contessa and just have it be Barefoot Tyrone. Hey y'all, what's up? What's really good, fam?
I've never seen the show. Does she do things with her feet, or the feet have nothing to do?
No, nothing to do with her feet.
Why we mentioned the feet?
It's just that's her nickname, the Barefoot Contessa.
I'm sorry. Whatever you do, food related, do it with proper footwear. That's the thing with me.
So she makes foods that look like they would be really good served on a patio on a breezy springtime afternoon.
So from the kitchen to the dumpster. Go ahead.
It looks fine. It just all looks too fancy for me.
Right.
I'll tell you who I really like as far as like Food Network goes. Well, Rachel Ray is the GOAT, but Giadia De Laurentiis.
don't think I know that one.
You probably don't know the name, but you probably know her if you saw her.
Probably saw the face. Yeah.
She's really big into like Italian cookery and stuff like that, and some of the stuff she makes just looks. Number one, both she and the food that she makes look obtainable, if that makes sense.
I get you.
All right,
you feel like you got a fighting chance of making
exactly. It knocks things up a notch. It looks like I feel like I have a fighting chance with both, her and also dinner.
See, to me, the Rachel Ray is the complete opposite of that.
Yeah.
And this week I've gotten, because my wife's off all week. So usually around lunchtime I catch a portion of Rachel Ray. Sure. Because she has her. My wife is the most regimented TV watcher I've ever seen. Like, it's 6 o'clock. Time for this.
Time for my news.
Yeah,
time for my stories.
She's so regimented. And anyway, so she, in her regime of TV watching when she's not at work, it's now Rachel Ray in the mix. And I get it. People love Rachel Ray and relate to Rachel Ray and all that. But based on her show, we ain't in her league, people. Not even remotely close. Like she's trying to talk at us. I don't know, maybe it's just me, but she's talking to us like she's kind of like an everyday mom feel, but she's doing it from her villa in Italy.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying?
Right,
and then she's like, oh, we're going to have Chef He's a longtime friend. I've been friend with Juju for 57 years.
Right.
And he's all dressed like a homeless man, but he cooks like Picasso, and you're just like, none of us do this.
Right.
Oh, I like to steam my tomatoes first to peel. I'm like, who's doing that? They're buying a can of tomatoes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's
if
just
you're
so
lucky,
bougie.
we do San Marzano. Otherwise, they're probably hunts. Let's be honest.
But for someone who's supposed to be of the people, her show's the most bougie I've ever seen.
It is. It's definitely. It can be. Now that's the thing, is it dances very successfully between upscale bougie whatnot.
Yeah.
But also down home in the kitchen with a little EVOO and a skillet.
Yeah.
So I felt like it tightropes that.
I don't know. I never watch her show all at once. I've only seen little segments here and there. But I will say this: every time I watch it, it feels more bougie than anything.
Oh, yeah.
It feels
Well, dude,
someone who's trying to relate to the common people.
And she she's made of money, so she's just out, just.
I mean, she's talented and very great. I mean, yeah, she knows her stuff and all that, but to me, it just comes across very. Now, I get it. When you're getting into Michelin star chef world, different standards, different level.
That in and of itself is so funny to me.
Yeah.
Do you know how the Michelin star system actually works?
No, I've never really.
Do you know that it actually is the Michelin tire company?
Same people?
Yeah. So back in the 50s and 60s, they were putting out travel guides.
Okay.
And in these travel guides, they would always have recommendations for places to eat when you were on Route 66 or wherever. And that's what started the Michelin star system.
Okay.
It started with American restaurants, and then it branched out to world, culinary things worldwide. But yeah, it's literally the Michelin Rubber Company.
Nice.
It's responsible for the Michelin star system. That boggles the mind when you're like, wait, like the Michelin? Yeah, no, the Michelin.
Well, marketing dictates where the world goes.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, it just kind of proof in there, like the Fromer guides or whatever.
Yeah.
For AAA recommends.
Tynemans. Wasn't that one at one point? Tynemans.
Yeah. So. Yeah, I did not know that. No, I always joked about Michelin and thinking, but just they're separate things. But apparently they're not. Interesting.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's just a bougie world, and it just seeing the Rachel Ray thing, I'm just like, you're trying to get us to relate, and I don't relate. I'm like, oh, it's real easy. Anyone can do it. It's like, sure, if I had a villa in Italy and had all this going on.
Yeah.
Someone go to market for me.
I don't think I'm ever going to spend time in a villa. I think the closest thing I'm ever going to get is a villa.
Yeah.
just soften those L's, and I think maybe it's obtainable.
I got a Vice.
I might sometime meet Bob Vila, but that's about as close as it's ever going to get.
Now, certainly I will have no Vista.
That's right.
All right, it is 7:48. Let's do this. Let us pause for your Chaves County sports update, quick, your Wall Street business update, quick commercial break as well. We'll be back here in about 3.5 minutes. Don't go away. You're listening to Mornings with Mike Winters.
It's time for the Chavez County Sports Report. Congratulations to the Roswell Coyotes, who finish off the Pocorn tournament with a championship trophy. Roswell defeats Navajo Prep, a previously undefeated Navajo Prep, 51-48 yesterday, as Roswell moves to 7-6 on the season. Goddard, meanwhile, wins the consolation championship after losing in the first round. That's the best the Rockets could do, and they defeated Kirtland Central yesterday, 55-42. The Goddard girls basketball tournament going on at the same time, and Goddard falls in the championship to Kirtland Central, 59-26. The Lady Broncos, 13-0 after that victory. Meanwhile, in third place, it was Roswell, kind of beating up on Academy, 42-22. The sports report brought to you by DSI. Call DSI for all your office technology needs. I'm Eric Butler at Roswell's Talk FM 106.5.
With the Wall Street Business Report, I'm Bill Alexander. Southwest Airlines said it expects to return to normal operations today after slashing about two-thirds of its schedule in recent days, including canceling more than 2,300 flights Thursday. Airline executives told employees that crew scheduling this week, a major cause of the meltdown, has been fixed. Southwest is struggling to recover after being overwhelmed by a winter storm that left hundreds of pilots and flight attendants stranded out of position to operate flights. Southwest has canceled more than 13,000 flights since December 22nd. The number of Americans filing new claims for unemployment benefits edged higher last week, and a week earlier the total number on jobless assistance reached the highest since February. But both remained at levels indicating the U.S. job market remains tight, even as the Federal Reserve works to cool demand for labor as part of its bid to lower inflation. For the Wall Street Business Report, I'm Bill Alexander in Washington.
When Rhonda was experiencing severe abdominal pain, she knew she could count on Artesia General Hospital's emergency department to provide critical care any time of day or night.
I didn't think twice about driving the 45 minutes from my home to Artesia's ER. I felt like I was their only patient. Excellent care from everyone, and I'm thankful beyond measure.
Each year, thousands of patients trust Artesia General Hospital with their health emergency. With specialty certifications in advanced adult and pediatric life support and trauma care, their emergency room physicians have the experience you need when every second counts. 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. Learn more at artesiageneral.com/emergency.
As you look forward to the new year, you may be making some New Year's resolutions for yourself. Things like exercising regularly, eating healthier, or something else that you may not do any longer than the first week of the year. How about you take a different approach for this year's resolution? Instead of focusing on yourself, come up with a resolution that can help others. Look around you and see where there's a need and resolve to meet that need. It could be helping out once a month at a local nonprofit. It could be writing an encouraging note every week to someone who's sick or dealing with a difficult time. It could be intentionally sharing the story of how God has made a difference in your life. At Country Club Road, we are making resolutions for the future with this mission: know Jesus and make Jesus known. We invite you to join us as we work together to develop our Vision 2030 plan titled For All That You're Going to Do. Happy New Year and God bless.
Join us at the Country Club Road Church of Christ for worship at 10 a.m. on Sunday, located on the corner of Country Club and Washington in Roswell.
Edge Safety and Services LLC in Artesia, New Mexico has an immediate opening for a safety technician. Position requires a clean driving record and must be able to pass a drug and alcohol screen. Edge Safety offers great pay with IRA benefits and employer contribution towards health benefits. Please email resumes to edgecoding@yahoo.com or apply in person at 402 West Main Street inside the Edge Safety and Services facility. Edge Safety and Services LLC is an equal opportunity employer.
Here's a Mornings with Mike Winters fun fact. Did you know you share your birthday with at least 9 million other people in the world? Your birthday isn't feeling so special now, is it? Here's Mike Winters.
And good morning. It is 7:53. Got a few minutes here before we get you into the top of the hour and the news here. Hey, so I'd mentioned earlier in the week that I started watching the Andor series on Disney Plus. This is the latest Star Wars, I guess you could say TV, streaming series that they've offered on Disney Plus, and this one is now they've got all the episodes up so you can watch them. But this one's kind of it's like I've watched like the first, I think 6 episodes now. I think I'm around 6th or 7th episode, and I dig it. I'm going to finish the series. It's okay. But in the world of the Star Wars, these series, this is not my favorite. I loved Mandalorian and Obi-Wan and or Kenobi, whatever they called that other one. I liked, and even the Book of Fett, I like those way better than Andor. And maybe it's because, those are bigger characters, Andor, which I've learned we were discussing because we didn't know either the other day. He's the character. He's one from Rogue One, one of the main guys, and so it's following kind of his backstory a little bit and where he's from, and so that's kind of, and then how he becomes a part of the Rebel Alliance is basically, and it's his story. This one's the most political of all the Star Wars stuff I've seen. And what I mean by that is it's really, because, as you watch the Star Wars movies, from the originals to the more modern stuff, the whole point is the Rebel Alliance versus the Empire, that whole mindset of, trying the revolution, trying to free the people, so to speak. That's the whole mindset of Star Wars. When you watch the show, it's the rebels versus the Empire. Mm-hmm. And so Andor is, but all those other shows and everything, it's about the battles, about the, who blew up what and who's got more force than the others and all that. And in Andor, I have not seen one reference to force, any force-related magic, any of that stuff. It's all like the boots on the ground type of it's the if you ever watch the movie Clerks, and if you haven't, every American should. It's especially people my age. But anyway, they have a debate in that movie where when the Death Star gets blown up and they're arguing, there's a lot of innocent lives die. Contractors, they're just trying to feed their kids. They're not part of the thing. They're just got a gig as a contractor and working a job, and they get blown up in the Death Star and all that. It literally, Andor is for people that have those conversations all day. That's what Andor is, and I'm entertained by it, and I like it, but it's slow. It's mostly dialogue.
It's very much for like the person who just wants a continuation of Star Wars lore.
Yeah, it's almost like filling in the minutia of Star Wars, which people that are uber Star Wars fans are going to love. If you're a passing Star Wars fan, Andor is way over your...
I'll bet that's what happened. Is because they've been doing a lot of like ancillary work to outside non-Star Wars fans to try to get the whole Mandalorian thing, the Baby Yoda, Grogu, whatever you want to call it. That was very much for non-Star Wars fans. Yeah. Same thing sort of goes along with what's the one the next one they did?
Book of Fett.
Yeah, well, the Boba Fett,
the Obi-Wan.
The Obi-Wan, that's but basically, they're all for like non-Star Wars fans, trying to loop in the
Obi-Wan got a little into the weeds.
But Andor, I feel like, is more like, okay, we're going to rein it back in. We're going to make these more
now,
about...
I haven't finished the series, so I don't know if the magic's coming with the Force and all that stuff.
Probably.
But this is literally all just like low-level lieutenants in the Empire versus, it's boots on the ground level stuff. And so, but it's a lot of the slow politic talking too. I mean, there is action and things, but they're training for a mission to basically,
It sounds like it's all the worst parts of episode 1. Because
when you see that, what? Matter of factly, and I think it's the second one where they show like the ETs and everybody in that big floating.
Right.
There is several scenes in that.
In the Galactic Senate or whatever.
Yes.
That's okay. I went the first ever Star Wars movie I saw. This is going to be an unpopular opinion. Was Episode 1. I saw it in the movie theater. I didn't watch anything else Star Wars related before that.
Okay.
We went and saw it in the movie theaters. It was a whole thing with my church. I fell asleep during that movie.
Yeah,
sure, it was fun with the pod race and all that. But that movie was like watching C-SPAN with lightsabers.
Yeah.
It was like a whole thing about the Galactic Senate and I'm just like, oh my God.
Yeah. Well, Andor's a little like that.
That's probably the reason I've never been a huge Star Wars fan, is because I didn't get introduced to it in the right era with the right film.
Yeah, George Lucas knew which one to release first.
Smart man.
But I kind of like it because it does kind of give you a little bit of like what the people's opinion of all this stuff is and all that. So in some aspects, I do dig that and I appreciate it. But when they get to like conversations between the two senators, that, let's face it, unless you're an uber Star Wars fan, could care less about, and really in the big scope of things, does not move the needle. It's just kind of now. I don't know if they're setting up for something else later down the deal, or just looking to fill content on a streaming service.
Right.
I don't know for lip service.
I'm leaning more towards the latter.
But Andor is all right. But if you're just a passing Star Wars fan, you probably don't want nothing to do with it because it's going to bore you to death.
You heard it here first, folks. A tacit recommendation from Mike Winters.
There it is. All right. It's closing in on 8 o'clock. One and a half digit up.
It's one of these.
I give it 2 nubbins. You're listening to 106.5 Roswell Talk
FM.
KEND, Roswell, New Mexico. We'll be back. Don't go away.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomason. That huge government funding bill that some Republicans helped to get through Congress is now a done deal. President Biden, on vacation in the U.S. Virgin Islands, has signed it into law.
The $1.7 trillion spending bill will keep the federal government operating through the end of the federal budget year in September, and it will provide tens of billions of dollars in new aid to Ukraine for its fight against the Russian military. Biden had until late Friday to sign the bill to avoid a partial government shutdown. The Democratic-controlled House passed the bill 225 to 201, mostly along party lines, just before Christmas. The House vote came a day after the Senate, also led by Democrats, voted 68-29 to pass the bill with significantly more Republican support. Norman Hall, Washington.
There's mounting evidence of Russian atrocities against Ukraine's civilian population. Ukrainian officials say they're investigating more than 58,000 potential war crimes, killings, kidnappings, indiscriminate bombings, and sexual assaults. Major humanitarian aid agencies warn that more Afghans will die because of the Taliban order that bars women from working for non-governmental groups. They say that female staffers are crucial for the delivery of life-saving aid across Afghanistan. Former Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has been sworn in as Israel's new prime minister, receiving congratulations from world leaders, including President Biden. Even as it gets back on its feet following the devastating winter storm, Western New York is mourning the loss of 40 people who died when the ferocious storm clobbered the region. Life is getting back to normal as the streets are cleared of snow and downtown Buffalo has reopened. Stocks are in the red this morning so far on Wall Street. Right now, the Dow down 230 points, the Nasdaq off 111 points. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Hey, Sarah, I'm sorry I'm late. The traffic is crazy.
Yeah, it is. And it doesn't help that gas prices have skyrocketed. I can't believe how much it costs for gas now.
Everyone's talking about how much gas is, but I never pay full price for gas anymore. I just use the free Upside app, and I get cash back for every gallon of gas I buy.
Wait a minute. Are you saying you actually get paid real cash when you buy gas with the Upside app?
Yeah, real cash every time I buy gas.
What? That sounds like it could really add up.
I've made around $200 already.
Wow, that's serious extra money. I'm downloading the free Upside app now.
Download the free Upside app to earn real cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code APP200 for an extra 25 cents per gallon cash back in your first fill-up. You can cash out anytime right to your bank account, to PayPal, or an e-gift card. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code APP200 for a 25 cents per gallon bonus in your first tank. That's code APP200 for 25 cents per gallon cash back in your first fill-up. Cashback's not available in gas in New Jersey and Wisconsin.
A court in military-ruled Myanmar has convicted the country's ousted leader of corruption, sentencing her to 7 years in prison and the last of a string of criminal cases against her.
In a closed-door trial, away from the glare and scrutiny of the international community, a military court in Myanmar handed down a judgment that was widely expected. Aung San Suu Kyi now faces a total of 33 years in prison for 19 charges. She's called the cases absurd and has denied every count. She was already facing a 26-year prison sentence for the multiple charges she'd been found guilty of. She's been held as a prisoner since the military junta overthrew her government in a coup in February 2021.
The BBC's Karishma Vaswani. The confirmed death toll from the massive fire at a casino hotel complex in western Cambodia has risen to 25. Searchers are still looking for more victims. Townhall.com. Just how bad is the homeless situation in California? By one account, there are more than 100,000 people living on the streets of the Golden State.
Hawaii, Oregon, and Arizona are among other western states where more homeless people live outside in cars and tents than indoors in shelters. That's despite billions spent to curb homelessness, including San Francisco's $672 million annual budget. Increasingly, advocates for people without housing are fighting back in court, as in a lawsuit filed in San Francisco where the average monthly rent for a one-bedroom is $3,000. John Scott reports.
Soccer fans the world over mourning the passing of Pele. He won a record 3 World Cups and is widely regarded as one of his sport's greatest players. He is a global ambassador for the sport. Pele died this week at the age of 82. More on these stories at townhall.com.
What in the wide, wide world of sports is going on here?
I promise you, whatever scum did this, not one man in this force will rest for 1 minute until he's behind bars. Now let's grab a bite to eat. Yeah, come on.
I feel the hot wind on my shoulder and the touch of a world that is older. I hit the switch and check the number. I leave it on and then I slumber. I hear the rhythm ringing through it. Flamenco guitar and cumbia music. I hear the talking of the DJ. The tablet said, what does he say? I'm on a Mexican radio. I'm on a Mexican radio.
Broadcasting live from high atop the J.P. White Building in downtown Roswell, New Mexico. It's Mornings with Mike Winters on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM.
Is that what I sound like when I talk?
Now, here's your host, Mike Winters.
And good morning. It is 6 minutes after 8 o'clock. Welcome to hour number 2.
One more time. The deuce.
The final deuce
of 2022.
Yes. Happy final hour
2020 deuce.
22. That's a lot of deuce. But happy Friday.
Yes.
Happy final, really, work day of 2022 for most and many.
Are you got any New Year's plans? Celebrations?
Nah, pretty low key, I think. I don't know. We'll see.
It's kind of a bummer that the usual New Year's party destination is not available this year.
Is that for real?
Yeah, it's okay. He's not doing anything this year. So
I heard.
It's interesting because tomorrow, Misty's actually in the process and has been for the last 3 weeks of feverishly putting together a baby shower for her stepdaughter Jessica.
Okay.
And her husband Will.
Tell her I still want the chocolate pecan pie.
Oh yeah, no, it's definitely still on the
good
thing. She's just been kind of pre-consumed with all this
Do
other
her
stuff.
thing. So just tell her what tell me what I owe her, and I'll get it to her whenever she gets a chance. I will eat it with bated breath.
With bated breath. On pins and needles.
On pins and needles. I will gladly wait whatever I need to wait.
But for sure. But we're doing this whole big, gigantic party. And she's been, like I said, stroke levels of stressed out for like 3 weeks trying to get all these pieces from like Amazon, making sure everything looks, like she's
perfect.
Full-blown party planner mode for this thing. And I'm like, well, do you want to just call it after that? I feel like we're going to be pretty partied out after the baby shower. And she goes, no, I still want to do something for New Year's. I'm like, okay, we're going from party to party. You party animal, you.
Nice.
But so we're doing, I guess, just some kind of get together.
Do you do any of the New Year's food traditions, black eyed peas, any of that kind of stuff?
So I'm hit or miss with the black eyed peas.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of black eyed peas.
I love them. I love black eyed peas.
Yeah, I'm not a fan.
It's just hit or miss with whether or not they work for me.
Nah.
Because I've had years where I've done it and it was just a terrible year. And
And then I've had years where I didn't do it, and it was just a terrible year. I'm starting to think
So what
maybe...
you're saying is it's all hokum.
Well, no, I'm starting to think maybe I'm the problem.
Maybe I'm not eating enough black-eyed peas.
That's what it is.
Or too many. I usually eat the obligatory spoonful.
Right, right. But I'll go for like a bowlful. Or just eat them straight out of the can, hobo style, you know?
And it's weird because I don't know why I don't like them as much. Because at the end of the day, they're just a drier bean, you know? They kind of, I just, something about them, I just not a fan, you know? And the weird part is, I prefer lima beans and other things that are over black-eyed peas. It's just something about them. They don't rub me right.
No, Will.i.am and Apple the App aren't for everybody. Fergie Ferg had to break away and do her own thing, but, you know, it's just not for everybody.
Yeah, monster truck.
Monster truck. It's a deep cut.
That's an inside baseball right there. but yeah, I do. I usually, if black-eyed peas are there, I will take the obligatory.
I thought you were gonna say, do you do any of the New Year's traditions like kissing your loved one at midnight? Yeah, thanks for rubbing that in, Mike.
Most of the time, my loved one's not awake at midnight. We do it at 10 p.m. and she's out. Right? Yeah.
Just be awkward if she woke up during it. So
usually on New Year's, I'm like Billy Idol dancing with myself.
I see. Oh. Usually on the back patio, it's weird.
That's right.
That's how Mike rings in the new year. That makes me sad now.
Well, I get on the back patio, I'm going, yeah, sweat. Ah! And then my neighbors.
Oh my God. I can see it.
That's what I do every New Year's. Tradition.
In a black wife beater in Zubaz.
Yeah, as soon as you hear the whole neighborhood goes quiet, like, oh, here we go.
Oh, and listen, I know that the people that need to hear this probably aren't listening to this show at this time of the morning.
Probably not.
Please don't fire your firearms into the sky at New Year's.
Well, that was in the news yesterday, which they do every year.
I know, and like I said, but it's preaching to the choir.
Well, we live in a world where we have to. You can't joke because people aren't smart enough to figure out it's a joke.
Right.
And it's, it's look, I'm sure, a lot of people never have taken any kind of gun safety class that are running around with their guns. I get it, even though you should, it's a good idea and all that. But it doesn't take a Rhodes Scholar to figure out that if what comes up must come down.
Right.
Your gun is not powerful enough to put that bullet into space.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you're not NASA. You're not launching things into space.
And unless you're going in any scenario, you fire straight up, that bullet is either going to come straight down or it's going to be affected by wind or something, and it's going to hit something else.
But I'm just saying, don't be a dummy.
Yeah.
Don't be a dummy. Do the way the good Lord intended. Just shoot fireworks off and know your neighbors that way. Don't be shooting your guns off. At the bare minimum, just beat pots and pans to know your neighbors at midnight.
It's really funny that reminded me of something. I fell down a weird wormhole last night.
Yeah.
I started diving into the weird universe of the crash test dummies. Not the band. Not the band. Do you remember how Vince and Larry were a huge thing in the 90s?
Yeah,
you could learn a lot from a dummy.
Yeah, the PSAs.
No, not even the PSAs, yes.
Yeah, the Ad Council. But
they
had
commercials. They had a spin-off cartoon show.
I remember that.
They had video games.
Wasn't there McDonald's toys?
There was McDonald's toys.
I remember that.
The crash test dummies were a huge thing in the 90s.
I do remember that. Yeah, there was a hot minute where there was.
So, yeah, because I fell down a whole wormhole where I was like, I started watching the PSAs, and then it morphed into the cartoons.
I'm imagine that spawned. It
could have.
Very popular at the time. Like, hey, what do you want to name our band? Hey, those stupid crash test dummies or everything. Let's call them the crash test dummies. And I got my first song. Once this was this girl who, and then the rest is history.
Dude, that song, that's a great song. But to me, the Weird Al song will always trump that
the
song.
version of it.
Can marks all over his bottom.
I always wonder, somewhere, is there a tour at a fair in Canada where bands like the Meat Puppets and bands of this ilk
Crash Test Dummies, right?
Crash Test Dummies are doing concerts.
What was that one? There was a band that was featured in the movie Black Sheep. And I've heard that's the only time I've ever heard their name. I can't remember what it was. Dang it, I have to look it up.
Now I got to think because I went right to Oingo Boingo, but that was Back to School.
Well, it was in the scene where he goes to rock the vote.
That's Primus.
No, not the band that's on stage. Hang on. You have an interview. Go ahead and give us.
Yeah. Let me do. All right, let's do this. Let me do the weather.
Yeah.
And then we'll be back. Maybe you'll have it by then.
Yeah.
But 8:14. Here's your weather.
I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton with your Pecos Valley weather. We have low pressure over our area and another storm system moving in from the Pacific Northwest, but the rain should hold off until Sunday night. It'll be fair today with our afternoon high in the upper 50s, mid-30s and clear for the overnight hours, warming into the mid-60s, and we get sunshine on Saturday, turning cloudy for New Year's Day and mid to upper 60s, showers Monday. That's your latest forecast. I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton.
Mud Honey was the name he was looking for. Mud Honey. Thank you. Yeah. 40 here in Roswell. Humidity is at 58%. Winds currently out of the southwest at 3 miles per hour. Now they're saying our chance of rain can happen anytime between now and 11 a.m., a 20% chance of rain. 80% chance it won't rain. And based on the fact that the clouds are clearing, I'm thinking we're clearing, not adding. But anyway, mostly sunny once all this goes away. A high of 56 today with winds out of the west, 5 to 10 miles per hour. Partly cloudy tonight with an overnight low of 34 degrees. Southwest winds 5 to 10. For your New Year's Eve tomorrow, we're looking at partly cloudy skies, 66 for a high. Southwest winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. Tomorrow night, when you go out to ring in the new year, mostly cloudy, overnight low of 38. Winds will be out of the west, 5 to 10, so pretty warm actually overnight for all things considered. New Year's Day, mostly cloudy and 64. South winds 5 to 15. There is a 30% chance of rain Sunday night. Mostly cloudy, overnight low of 39, and then looks like most of next week we're going to be lingering in the 50s. Could see some breezes on Monday. All right, it is 8:15. We're going to take a quick 2.5-minute commercial break. Then we're going to play our interview with Matt Bristol from Bristol Law Office, talking a lot of year-end and good time of year to kind of do some assessments financially and, all that kind of stuff. So great conversation coming up next. Don't go away.
As you look forward to the new year, you may be making some New Year's resolutions for yourself. Things like exercising regularly, eating healthier, or something else that you may not do any longer than the first week of the year. How about you take a different approach for this year's resolution? Instead of focusing on yourself, come up with a resolution that can help others. Look around you and see where there's a need and resolve to meet that need. It could be helping out once a month at a local nonprofit. It could be writing an encouraging note every week to someone who's sick or dealing with a difficult time. It could be intentionally sharing the story of how God has made a difference in your life. At Country Club Road, we are making resolutions for the future with this mission: know Jesus and make Jesus known. We invite you to join us as we work together to develop our Vision 2030 plan titled For All That You're Going to Do. Happy New Year and God bless.
Join us at the Country Club Road Church of Christ for worship at 10 a.m. on Sunday, located on the corner of Country Club and Washington in Roswell.
Edge Safety and Services LLC in Artesia, New Mexico has an immediate opening for a safety technician. Position requires a clean driving record and must be able to pass a drug and alcohol screen. Edge Safety offers great pay with IRA benefits and employer contribution towards health benefits. Please email resumes to edgecoding@yahoo.com or apply in person at 402 West Main Street inside the Edge Safety and Services facility. Edge Safety and Services LLC is an equal opportunity employer.
If you need a Kubota that works and plays hard, stop looking. You'll find everything you need at Amigo Machinery. When it comes to tough Kubota tractors, mowers, construction equipment, and utility vehicles, all with low-rate financing, Amigo Machinery is your one-stop shop. We are passionately committed to providing our customers with the highest quality products, most innovative solutions, and services delivered with integrity and professionalism. Stop by Amigo Machinery in Roswell or see us online at amigo-machinery.com.
Hey,
You probably know that health insurance can help to maintain and even improve your health and your family's health. But did you know it can also benefit the health of your finances? If you or a family member have an unexpected medical issue, and if you don't have health insurance, it could cost you thousands or even tens of thousands of dollars. If you have health insurance, that same medical issue could only cost a fraction of that. And now, health insurance is more affordable than ever. So let the friendly and knowledgeable team at BeWellNM guide you through the process. Visit BeWellNM.com today.
Here's a Mornings with Mike Winters fun fact. There are 293 ways to make change for $1. Try all 293 on the guy who keeps borrowing money from you. Here's Mike Winters.
Okay. Anyway, good morning. It is 27 minutes after 7 o'clock, and joining us in studio this morning from Bristol office up on the 4th floor here of the J.P. White building, Matt Bristol back with us. Good morning.
Morning, Mike. How are you doing?
Doing great. How's the holiday season going for you and your family?
So far, so good. Just got back from Albuquerque visiting the family. And have you done all your shopping? Are you ready?
No. I've done some shopping, which is good for me. But have I done all shopping? No, I'm not done yet. So, but to be started is a step in the right direction for me, because I'm usually that person that's, the 20-something, I should need to get this gift and this gift, and that's me usually. So
get that prime delivery going on.
I'm that one. I'm the guy who last minute is your friend because I'm too procrastinating on this stuff.
Well, my wife and I have gotten to the point where we buy what we want and then let the other one give it to us.
That's a good idea. That way you're never disappointed. You know what you get. And
Well, we got all sorts of stuff. So we don't need more stuff.
And I get that. Because my wife and I are the same way. I was like, and we usually end up picking something, a together thing, a house thing, and say, let's just get that and call it good, Like a TV or whatever it is,
So you hang around for the holidays, or?
I'll be in New Mexico, going up Albuquerque, and Tim's family lives up there, so we'll spend the holiday week time there for the, spending time with family and doing all that stuff.
Maybe she'll run across another student up there.
Yes, maybe get some more, score some more. Let's get.
Shoot about the steaks,
right? Start shopping it. And I almost made that joke at the store. It's like, I gotta go back and get some steaks. Yeah. Hold on a second, but I didn't. I was like, no, just be thankful and don't be a jerk.
Yeah. Oh, Kim, we forgot the booze.
I was like, I forgot to grab the big old thing of steaks and brisket. Hold on.
I left the other basket behind.
Yeah. Wait a minute, where was this? I saw lobsters in a tank. We've got to get some of those. Yeah. No, we didn't do that. So, but for folks that are not familiar, Matt joins us once a month and comes by and gives us sage legal advice. And usually a lot of it's because of the type of law that Matt practices. Generally, you're dealing a lot with family or financial and planning and that side of thing, because even though Matt is not a financial planner by trade, many people, because of poor financial planning, end up in his office needing legal representation. So
one way or the other, yeah.
So a lot of times he gives advice to avoid having to see a guy like Matt and require legal representation.
Yes, we see what goes wrong. We learn how to avoid it. And so that's one of the counseling things we do with people is you want to avoid this situation by doing X.
Absolutely.
So this time of year, when family's together, this is actually a good time to set the kids down and kind of tell them what the estate plan is.
Sure. This is something, and we've talked a little bit about this usually around this time in the year in the past, and it's a good time to remind people because, like you said, the holidays are a time when families in town, they're getting together, and let's face it, the holidays are always, remember when you were a kid and you used to do this, or, it's a time of reminiscing and things. Yeah. Now, I get it. Talking about your death plans is not exactly warming the cockles of your heart type conversations here. But it is convenient that families usually in town, usually they're at mom and dad's or wherever, and so it's a good time to have the conversation about what happens if.
Well, because the doors say nobody's getting out alive.
This is true. Yeah, we're all dying at some point. Yeah. It's just a matter of, hopefully it's not for a long time, but we don't get to control that sometimes.
Well, and it's not meant to be a downer, but since everybody's together, it's good for everybody to hear the story all at the same time. Sure. So later on, some kid doesn't say, well, that's not what Dad told me. Mm-hmm. We want to avoid that kind of thing. So when everybody's all together, just, okay, it's family business for the next, 15, 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Have a little corporate board meeting and say, these are the estate plans, and this is how stuff's getting divided, and don't want to hear any complaining.
Yeah. Well, and let's face it, it's always an emotional time when a family member is lost. Mm-hmm. And so emotions are going to be high.
Oh, yeah.
Possibly irrational. And let's face
Typically, yeah.
Without a plan in place or without someone or some people knowing what the plan of action is afterwards here makes it 10 times worse.
It is, because, you've just lost a parent, mm-hmm. and nobody knows what happens next. Mm-hmm. I mean, really? That's a heck of a disservice to your kids of, well, what's going to happen, and what do we do next?
Sure.
And who's going to get the house? And what do you do with the stuff in it? And I always wanted Dad's shotgun. I wonder if I'm going to get it. And
mm-hmm.
so now your kids are in turmoil because they don't know what's coming. And so it's good to set them down in advance and say, this is how I'm divvying stuff up.
Absolutely.
And if it's going to be uneven, then you need to tell everybody why,
mm-hmm.
and not give them the big surprise afterwards.
Sure. And if you've set up your estate planning, so maybe you're like, well, okay, my kids, I don't want them to have to go and, micromanage every little thing. And I know a lot of people, it's like, look, I have a financial person that has implicit instructions on what to do. When I pass, this is the person you talk to, mm-hmm. and that's, whatever the plan is, but set up that plan and have your family fully invested in said plan so they know what to do when that event comes that you're no longer with us to kind of...
Well, especially second marriage.
Mm-hmm.
And those are really tough because, say it's the second marriage, you've been married 25 years or so, and so now your spouse is wondering, are they going to be taken care of when you pass away? Mm-hmm. Or is everything going to go to the kids and now your surviving spouse is on the street?
Yeah. The more complex, the more prepared you need to be. Mm-hmm. If you've dealt with multiple marriages and multiple spouses and multiple sets of kids, then you've got to just to keep the peace. But even if it's one marriage, one family, the thing, and it's relatively non-combative or everyone pretty much is on the same page, why dump all of that on the family? Have it all arranged so when you die, it's a simple matter of, okay, open this up. It's got everything you need here to who goes what and where. This is my executor, and whoever that executor is, tell them exactly what you want. That way, you can focus on the real part, the grieving, the memories, and the rest of it's just a matter of dotting I's and crossing T's and executing it.
And speaking of that, while the kids are in town, where you want that stuff that you just mentioned, the instructions, mm-hmm. and where's everything located, is you take the kids, walk them down to the bank, get a safe deposit box, get the kids on the box, mm-hmm. everybody's a signer, and that's where you put all that stuff.
Yeah, okay.
Great
idea.
I haven't seen a bank burn down in a long time.
Yeah.
And I've had people tell me, well, I've got this safe in the house. And it's like, well, it might be heat-proof, but only for a certain amount of heat for a certain amount of time.
Sure.
And after that, everything inside is going to bake like a cookie.
It's not a bad idea, but if it's not the be-all, end-all, you're much safer off-site, in a safety deposit box. And, or... maybe what about in the modern internet world? Is it okay to put backups in the cloud somewhere? I mean, if they're not original documents, but at least something in a cloud-based where it can be accessed in theory anywhere.
Oh, sure. And who have you shared your password with?
Yeah, and I know that's the thing. I know it's a dangerous thing, but is that? I mean, assuming it's a secured thing, is that a?
But how are the kids going to access that if they don't know the password?
You'd have to inform them at some point.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, that's on the computer. Okay. So if there's a house fire and the computer just melts, all that's gone, and the password's gone, and the worst case scenario is there's a fire,
mm-hmm.
and so now it's Mike and Matt are looking at each other, and Mom and Dad's house just burned to the ground. It's like, hey, Mike, who did Mom and Dad have the car insurance with? We need to make a claim.
Right.
And Mike says, "Oh, I don't know. Don't you know?" "No, I don't know." "Well, who'd they have the house insurance with?" "Oh, geez, I don't know." And so now the kids, there's nothing. There's no paper trail. There's no nothing.
Gotcha.
So that's the kind of stuff that should be in the safe deposit box.
Gotcha.
And does it need to be a 3-ring binder with a table of contents and tabs? No. You get an envelope. So say you pay with a check, okay? And so there's an envelope, and the return address says Farmers Insurance. Right. So you write car on the front of the envelope, toss it in the safe deposit box, and the kids are going to figure the rest out.
Gotcha. Or the legal representative that they've hired to help them do
or
that.
somebody will. Well, if you pay online and you just print out the receipt that says Geico and you write, house or whatever, somebody's going to figure the rest of that out. And then, so it doesn't have to be real organized.
Gotcha.
Doesn't have to be a complicated
But enough
thing.
to give them a good
breadcrumbs
idea of what everything is and laid out. Now, obviously, some are more thorough and want to have in-depth conversation. I mean, you do that with your family how you see fit. That's up to you. But what Matt is saying is have the plan, and generally because the holidays is a time when we're all together.
Right.
Let's use this as that time to spend, like he said, 15 minutes out of the weekend to sit down and say at least so. I mean, yeah, you don't have to lay out every single plan in intricate detail, but make sure everybody's on the same page. Whatever it is, it's like even if maybe you don't trust your family to know all the details, like they're going. So you just say, look, when I die, here's this. Go see my financial so and so. It's right here. They can, but make sure everyone knows what to do because death's sudden. I mean, sure, we all want. We all dream of the life, when we die in our sleep and, after saying goodbye to everybody and all. But life doesn't work that way. You could be hit by a bus 10 minutes from now and it's all over.
Yeah.
And what happens next? And could you honestly say right now, if you got hit by a bus, would the rest of the family know what to do? And if you can honestly say, yeah, then you're good, then step on out. But I'm kidding, of course. But if you don't, maybe it's like, all right, maybe I need to sit down this Christmas and have that conversation.
Have the conversation.
If you think they know what to do, then you don't. Then you need to have a conversation.
Well, the best
because you need to know that they know what to do.
And the best way for everybody to be on the same page is you tell them what the page is, and you drill in their heads every single year. This is the plan. This is the plan. This is the plan, and you put them on the same page. And then you're talking about the financial guy. Okay? Okay. So you don't have to tell the kids this is how much I have. That's not the point. You don't have to tell them this is my 401k balance.
They don't need to know all of the items per se.
Just tell them where is your financial guy? Where is the 401k?
Sure.
So you can just take a statement, take a bank statement, 401k statement, broker statement, throw it in the safe deposit box. Okay, that stuff is good for years.
Sure.
And even if you change the brokerage guys, there's a paper trail as to where that money went.
Sure. They have to kind of keep tabs on some of that stuff.
There's a paper trail.
Yeah. So it will definitely be the clue if you have to play a little Sherlock Holmes on finding some of that stuff. And obviously, if you do get a new agent or broker, you update that information in said file or safety deposit box, wherever you're keeping your important documents and stuff here. But the whole point that Matt's saying here is have a plan and tell your plan and share it. Whatever is that plan, however you deem it best for your family, that's entirely up to you and how you deal with it. But all Matt's saying is put everybody in the loop. And the Christmas time, the Christmas season's usually a good time because everybody's here. Now, I wouldn't be, all right, presents open, let's come to the office, before breakfast here and just knock it. No, don't do that. But, at some point in the evening when everything's done and you got the kids off to the side and say, hey, Mom and Dad want to show you, where we keep the will, we keep all this, and,
maybe when the grandkids are asleep.
Yeah.
Say, okay, we're going to have a family meeting for 20 minutes and just share the plan and tell them where all the stuff is. And tomorrow we're going to go to the bank, get the safe deposit box kind of thing.
Now, the next conversation is if you don't have this file or said room to show them any of this stuff, you should get these things. Especially if you have adult kids. If you're waiting at this point, you're really behind the 8 ball. But the moment, the moment you get married, you should talk about this. But the moment you have a kid, You're already late if you're not, because the moment you're bringing life into this earth that you're responsible for, you need to have a plan right away, because at any given moment, you could be out of the picture there. You just, God forbid you're not, but it's a possibility. And as a parent, that's one of those top priorities, is making sure what happens if you're gone to that child. And,
absolutely. Have a will that says who's going to raise that kid if something happens to you. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yep. Your life insurance papers should go in the safe deposit box. There's actually used to be a central registry somewhere where everybody with life insurance was on a list.
Oh, really?
Yeah, regardless of who it was with. So that if somebody passed away, you could find out, did they have life insurance or not.
I wonder how many policies, I'm sure there's a lot that people bought little policies and and kind of got long lost, and then, oh, wait a minute, somewhere hidden there's a policy where there's $5-10 grand just waiting for you because people forgot about it, Sometimes that's the case, but that's why you have the paperwork and the thing to avoid that kind of stuff.
So. Yeah, I got a buddy, and he was telling me he and his wife are pretty much life insurance rich, and which is fine. And but my comment was, how does that do you any good?
Sure.
So I just use my premiums to invest, and instead of buying life insurance, I invest, and that way I have the money now to enjoy and take care of.
Sure, and then you can leave it however you see fit afterwards, instead of in the form of a insurance policy or whatever.
So I can still leave something behind, but in the meantime, if I need it, this is...
But I know, like, throughout the course of life, you enter a little job or something, it's like, hey, we'll take another $5 out of your paycheck and we'll give you this policy. You're like, hey, I'll sign up for that, why not? And then you forget about it after you retire and everything. It's like, no, you got a little policy there with 10-15 grand sitting in it,
Tax returns are a good thing to rotate in and out of the safe deposit box. Tax returns have a lot of information. So you could look at Kim's W-2, for example, on the tax return, and you can tell she's contributing to retirement. It's on the W-2.
Sure, it's all right there.
If you know where to look. I think it's the difference between box 1 and 2. So you know to call the employer. Hey, look, there's a retirement plan. There's a 401. Then you can ask, is there any life insurance associated with that? So... Also, there's 1099s that come in for miscellaneous income, from brokerage accounts.
Side jobs, whatever.
Side jobs, interest from, they got a savings account somewhere.
Some windfall somewhere, whatever,
It's in a different bank the kids don't know about. And so it's got some good information, the tax returns. And it's got if you got an accountant, it's got their name on it.
And you're supposed to, if I remember right, you're supposed to keep your last 7 anyway. I mean, that's part of, I don't know how many people do that, but
if there's a fire,
you're supposed to hold on to your last 7 tax returns anyway. But yeah, keep a copy there in your safety deposit box there with your other important. That way, there's a good, like you said, Sherlock Holmes lead list for them to track down almost anything, because. And you will also find that'll probably be your best friend along with a death certificate. And this is something, if you've never dealt with someone dying and having to do all the stuff for them, the death certificate, you're going to get tired of here, because everybody and their uncle is going to want a copy, and because that's the one piece of proof that your relative is no longer here, and kind of gives you the path to access their accounts and things. Even if you have a power of attorney, it's like, do you have a death certificate? No, well then I'm not talking.
So that's why the kids are on the safe deposit box, because everybody's a joint tenant with right of survivorship. So if mom and dad both die, the kids can still get in the box. They're joint owners. The original wills should be in there. Powers of attorney, birth certificates, car titles. Any family heirlooms should be in the safe deposit box, just so they don't burn up. That kind of stuff.
Absolutely. Anything that's of value that either tells people where to find your value or is a direct link to said value, like you said, a deed or something like that. But yeah, the financial, that's the stuff you keep in there, and that way you have it there. Now, and this is something too, is you don't have to constantly update it, but anytime there's a major change in your life, you also, just like, if you have a new child or you get a big asset, you update your will. This is same kind of thing. You want to go in there and update this the in case of box too. You know.
Oh yeah.
Because if you have this box, but you haven't updated in 20 years and a lot's happened in 20 years, that's not going to be very helpful to your family when they're trying to resolve your accounts and things like that.
And that's a good point. Most of the banks now will tell you their records don't go back more than 7 years.
Mm-hmm.
Now they're fibbing, but that's what they'll tell you.
Sure.
So if you got a bank statement in the box that's 5 years old, mom and dad passed, the kids pull it out, and the bank says, "Oh, we moved the account." Well, there's going to be a paper trail where they move that account, as long as the statement's not more than 7 years old.
Yeah.
So
hey, I guess it frees them up from obligation if they make a blanket statement saying we're responsible for 7, but after this we're not taking responsibility anymore.
Well, it's just too much paperwork.
Sure. Well, and that makes sense because just think about how much paperwork you yourself have acquired over your lifetime. Take that times
however many customers
100,000. That's what their deal is. So that's what we're talking about.
So what I did with my wife is I got a copy of all the statements. Got the business statements, and then we have some joint bank accounts and separate bank accounts. And so what I did was I got a copy of all the statements and the retirement statements and all that kind of deeds and all that kind of stuff. And I said, okay. And so I had kind of an outline anyway, table of contents. And I said, I want you to rewrite all this in your handwriting. And I want you to tab everything. And she did. It took about, 30 minutes. But by her doing it with her own little hand, now she knows where everything is.
She's familiar.
Yep.
She's looked at it long enough where she's at least familiar with it and comfortable with it. And, if she has to do something with it on her own, she at least has a place to go with it.
She has a place to go.
Yeah.
It was her handwriting. Oh, yeah, I remember writing this.
Sure.
Oh, tab 4, that's the, mineral deeds.
Sure.
Or tab 6 is the, the condo in Hawaii or whatever you got.
Sure.
But too many spouses, they don't share that information. And then when one passes, the surviving spouse is like, I don't know anything.
And I get sometimes the spouse doesn't want to know, and they kind of play, it's fine. Just don't let that go down. Be like, look, no. I'm not going to be here forever, and God forbid if I'm not here and this happens, you need to know this, or you need to know what to do next. And so please don't sleep on this. Don't just brush it off. Take it seriously. Take it to account, because someday you're going to need this information.
In fact, attorneys now are required to have a plan that if they are deceased or disabled, how do you shut the business down?
That makes sense, because there's a lot of legal open ends there when you die, depending, especially attorney-client privilege, and that there's things that are kind of going with you to the grave, so to speak. And so there has to be a plan if that's not acceptable. Is someone else taking over the practice, whom it is? Does that transfer to them and everything that we talk about, and how does all that work?
Oh, our upcoming court dates,
sure,
and who's going to notify the clients, and oh my gosh, payroll's around the corner.
I imagine it happens more often than people think, because lawyers die just like everybody else, and life happens, and
they do, and attorneys like anybody else, they enjoy work. A lot of them enjoy working, and so they work right up until they die at the office.
Now, granted, if they work at a firm where there's multiple partners and things,
that's easy.
And it just shifts over to one of the other partners.
Right.
But someone like yourself, that's your own practice, your own business, there's probably a lot more things in place you have to set up.
Yep.
Because in on paper at least, or at least in public, there's no signs of a plan of progression to somebody else. It's like, Matt's got a kid that's going to take over this place. I don't know, but we got to figure that out. And so there's got to be something in place.
So I sat down with the staff.
Yeah.
So that the children, if you will. So I sat down with the staff and I said, okay, what if I die tomorrow? What's the priority? What's the first thing we do? What's the second thing we need to do? And wrote it all down. Where the safe deposit boxes, that kind of stuff. And then after we got it all done, then I gave everybody a copy so that everybody knows the plan.
Yeah. And they're all thinking, well, we won't need this, and they'll put it in that back drawer. And then one day they're going to have to bring it out. Matt's going to be called in sick. And
well, instead of where does Matt keep his
actually
plan,
the idea thing
own.
will be is Matt's going, I'm retiring. I'm going to go move to this island with a palm tree and a coconut. Yeah, this guy or this person's taking over, and there you go.
That's plan A. Yeah.
That's plan A. Yeah, that's plan A. So, but the whole point of this whole conversation here is the Christmas holidays right around the corner. Please carve out some time over this next couple of weeks here to sit down with the family that needs to be here in this conversation, and come up and show them the plan. And if you don't have a plan, then use this as a time to start getting the plan together, because we're talking about sharing the plan, but obviously step one is get the plan before you share the plan. So if you're like, well, I'd love to do that, but I have no idea what to tell my family when this happens because I have no idea where this stuff is either, then maybe you need to.
Ooh, that's a clue.
Yeah, then let's get your ducks in a row, and of course, give Matt a call. Anybody else, talk to a lawyer if you don't have a will or that kind of stuff. Definitely talk to your financial planning people, when it comes to like your house and whatever other assets you may have out there, and let's talk about a plan for what to do with all this stuff in the event that you are no longer with us. So,
absolutely.
Yeah, it's so vital, and I don't care, how many kids or family members you have or lack thereof. It doesn't. That's not the matter. If you have stuff and when you die there's a place you want it to go, then you need to make sure that you set that up so people know that. And that's what it's about.
If you're not all together Christmas, then maybe on New Year's or Memorial Day, whenever the family's together. Sure. But it should be pretty much an annual event of reminding
even if you have
everybody.
to do a FaceTime video or like back in COVID days where everyone sits around a computer screen and does it, so be it. But
absolutely,
you need to have that conversation at some point. We like to use, it's kind of like smoke alarms. When they say when the clocks change the batteries, it's just a good thing to remind people. Well, same kind of thing. The holidays are here, families gathering. Don't forget, let's spend a few minutes to make sure the family's on board on what to do in the event of we losing a family member and what we need to do next and things like that.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
the old motto, be prepared.
Yeah, exactly. Those scouts got a good, if they live that motto, they never have it. I'm not saying they have problems, but they always got a solution for them, or at least a plan of attack for them anyway. So, but definitely, because the last thing you want to do is have these conversations in a hospital room while someone's sitting on life support and you're all sitting around a bed. That's not the time to have these conversations.
No,
that's the time to spend those final minutes with family and grieving and doing the things that you want to be doing with your family, not talking about who has a will and where is it and where do we find it. You can now, if it's last minute plans like make sure mom gets her salad every day, then that's a good time for that conversation, because you see that a lot too, where especially if it's a spouse and you're like, all right, I'm going to be leaving your mother. I'm used to doing this for mom. Make sure you keep that tradition going and things like that.
Yeah.
Spend that time on that and not worrying about, how do I pay the house payment after you're gone?
Well, yeah. So there's, people are very emotional when they've lost a parent. And the last thing you want is people assuming Billy Bob got more than I did, so now I'm upset.
Yeah.
But if you've been told to plan over and over and over.
And you don't want to be the one that surprises your family either. Like if you've been doing some kind of shady dealings with things over the years and then I die and then you find out, oh man, he's been skimping on this for you. I mean, that's a hard time to find that out and sometimes think you can't fix it. So get your ducks in a row. For the sake of your family, get your ducks in a row.
Absolutely.
To help them out. If not for nothing else, to ease that transition for when you were gone, because we're all going to go through it. We don't know when, but we're all going to experience it. Let's make it as easy as possible for the people we love.
Well, and I've had people tell me, well, my kids don't want to talk about it. They won't talk about it.
I understand
and
that.
I say, well, okay, we'll talk
Suck
about
it up,
it anyway.
Buttercup. Yeah. It's just, there's a lot of things I don't want to do, but this is called life and being an adult, and there are certain moments you don't have a choice. You've got to do them, or you're going to be dealing with problems. And so,
absolutely.
So I'm sorry that it's a tough conversation. I really am. I don't want to have tougher conversations, but it's a lot tougher if you don't have that conversation, then the inevitable happens. I would much rather deal with an uncomfortable conversation for 15 minutes and have a plan than you pass away and I'm like scratching my head wondering what to do next and going crazy trying to figure that one out.
I had a client just last week, and husband passed away a few months ago, and I said, well, who pays the monthly bills? So, well, I used to, but I couldn't handle it, so husband took it over, some time ago. So she wasn't familiar with what bills were paid, what time of the month. There were some retirement decisions that had to be made about how to take retirement in what way. They had never had that conversation. She wasn't familiar with that he had 2 or 3 different kinds of retirement.
Oh, man. You're really doing your loved ones a disservice by not doing that. You're setting them up for failure.
And if you're the spouse that says, I don't want to hear it, I don't want to talk about it, well, too bad. You got to.
Yeah, you're going to have to, If they're that adamant, then fine. Write it all down and hide it or put it somewhere they'll see it, when you're dying. Maybe they'll read it afterwards if they're that.
Stick it on the refrigerator.
Yeah, do something. Tattoo it on your forehead. I don't care. We're out of time here, but if you have any questions about anything we just talked about here, if you need legal representation, you need a will set up, if you're dealing with family law, any of these types of issues, Matt Bristol Law Office can help you with all of that. Maybe it's just a conversation before we get to a courtroom.
So we got a new website.
Yes.
BristolLawOffice.net.
Good deal. Oh, switched up .net now. Go to BristolLawOffice.net.
Yep.
There you can schedule an appointment, learn all about Matt's practice and all the services and things that they offer and cover there. And of course, if you're, and that's the great thing. If you're Matt will have a conversation with you, and then he'll determine, you know what, this conversation's all we need, or no, we need to go here. Either way, Matt's going to set you straight and get you through that, and
absolutely,
and not put you through anything you don't need to do, but make sure everything that needs to get done gets done.
Absolutely,
good deal. You want to give out the phone number real quick too, if people want to call and leave a message if they have questions?
That'd be great. We're at 625-5284.
Very good. And of course, the office located here downtown in the J.P. White building on the 4th floor.
Beautiful J.P. White building.
That's right. 3rd and Main downtown.
That's us.
Good deal. Well, Matt.
Thank you, Mike.
As always, appreciate the visit.
Enjoyed it.
We'll let you get to your caseload and everything else you got sitting on your office upstairs.
All right,
for you there.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you and yours, and we'll see you here in 2023.
Next year, yeah.
That's right, with a whole new set of problems.
Second Monday of the month.
That's right. We'll see you then, 7:15.
Thanks, Mike.
Thanks. Merry Christmas to you and your family.
Now your Pecos Valley News Update. I'm Jared Cirillo. A former Artesia rancher is named the 2022 New Mexico Cattle Growers Association Cattleman of the Year. Darrell Brown received the award during the Joint Stockmen's Convention December 14th through 17th in Albuquerque. He was born there in Albuquerque, but Brown took a job in 1985 in Artesia as a ranch manager for Yates Petroleum Fort Dinkus Ranch west of Artesia. While there, he fostered a partnership with Artesia Public Schools, allowing elementary school children to learn the inner workings of agriculture. New Mexico Attorney General Hector Balderas is asking that changes be made to rules proposed by the U.S. government as it processes damage claims from an historic wildfire sparked by forest managers. Balderas filed comments on the Hermit's Peak Calf Canyon Fire Assistance Regulations this week, outlining his concerns over limitations on damages, the lack of a clear appeals process, and leadership of the team that will oversee the claims process. You're up to date. I'm Jared Cirillo reporting.
I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton with your Pecos Valley weather. We have low pressure over our area and another storm system moving in from the Pacific Northwest, but the rain should hold off until Sunday night. It'll be fair today with our afternoon high in the upper 50s, mid-30s and clear for the overnight hours, warming into the mid-60s, and we get sunshine on Saturday, turning cloudy for New Year's Day, and mid to upper 60s, showers Monday. That's your latest forecast. I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton.
With the Wall Street Business Report, I'm Bill Alexander. Southwest Airlines said it expects to return to normal operations today after slashing about two-thirds of its schedule in recent days, including canceling more than 2,300 flights Thursday. Airline executives told employees that crew scheduling this week, a major cause of the meltdown, has been fixed. Southwest is struggling to recover after being overwhelmed by a winter storm that left hundreds of pilots and flight attendants stranded out of position to operate flights. Southwest has canceled more than 13,000 flights since December 22nd. The number of Americans filing new claims for unemployment benefits edged higher last week, and a week earlier the total number on jobless assistance reached the highest since February. But both remained at levels indicating the U.S. job market remains tight, even as the Federal Reserve works to cool demand for labor as part of its bid to lower inflation. For the Wall Street Business Report, I'm Bill Alexander in Washington.
9 of 10 people with pre-diabetes don't even know they have it. Left untreated, diabetes can lead to other health complications including heart disease, stroke, and liver disease. Don't put off your care any longer. Artesia General Hospital's Diabetes Care Team can help you make a personalized plan to manage diabetes or pre-diabetes and reclaim your health. Learn more or request an appointment at artesiageneral.com/diabetes.
As you look forward to the new year, you may be making some New Year's resolutions for yourself. Things like exercising regularly, eating healthier, or something else that you may not do any longer than the first week of the year. How about you take a different approach for this year's resolution? Instead of focusing on yourself, come up with a resolution that can help others. Look around you and see where there's a need and resolve to meet that need. It could be helping out once a month at a local nonprofit. It could be writing an encouraging note every week to someone who's sick or dealing with a difficult time. It could be intentionally sharing the story of how God has made a difference in your life. At Country Club Road, we are making resolutions for the future with this mission: know Jesus and make Jesus known. We invite you to join us as we work together to develop our Vision 2030 plan titled For All That You're Going to Do. Happy New Year and God bless.
Join us at the Country Club Road Church of Christ for worship at 10 a.m. on Sunday, located on the corner of Country Club and Washington in Roswell.
Oasis Computers has been Roswell's trusted source for home and small business computers for over 30 years, and they continue to be your best resource for computer repairs, operating system upgrades, web root managed, antivirus, special orders, and more. Oasis Computers is now open from 8 to 1, Monday through Friday to better serve you. Service calls by appointments and after-hour appointments are available too. Stop by Oasis Computers at 1703 North Garden or call or text 575-625-9141 for even faster service.
2022 was a roller coaster year for your Roswell Coyotes and Goddard Rockets. And KSVPTV.com is your home for every second of the action throughout the 2022 season. Relive all the game-changing plays and the players that made it a season for the books. Simply click on the Roswell Coyotes or Goddard Rockets tab at KSVPTV.com and get ready to dive into a season of memories made and victories won. KSVPTV.com, your official home for all things Coyotes and Rockets and Southeastern New Mexico's sports authority.
Here's a Mornings with Mike Winters fun fact. The U.S. Treasury once considered producing donut-shaped coins. They instead decided to go with coin-shaped donuts. Here's Mike Winters.
And good morning. It is 56 minutes after 8 o'clock. Stay tuned. Next hour, we're going to replay our interview with Dennis Kentai and Gina Yeager with the District Attorney's Office. They joined us a couple weeks ago, and they're going to come on monthly. Well, the office will, not necessarily those two individuals.
Right.
Will join us each month and talk what's going on at the DA's office.
It'll always be Dennis and somebody.
I would imagine, yeah, because he kind of is our point of contact there. So.
I kind of think he missed it. I think he missed us. I really do. Like, I think that there's a part of him that was
you
like...
think he missed us?
I think he missed the morning show experience.
No, I like to make it a good one. I like to. I like to be an inviting person, and people want to come on here and want to banter and chat with us.
I personally am telling myself that he got into a line of work that would require him to have time on the radio.
Could be
that we basically led him back to the district attorney's office.
Well, I like it. I like chit chatting with him on the radio, so we have fun. Matter of fact, I'll never forget. This was like maybe 6 years ago, 5-6 years ago. It was a weekend, and my wife and I were going to Sam's Club to shop. And as I was walking into the store, I hear, "Is that the famous Mike Winter?" It's like real loud, and and it was the mayor, and Dennis Kentai, and he was mayor at the time. And and he I ain't gonna lie, he dapped me up like I was important. And, And I felt like
it's
enough where people are looking at me and like, what's he doing? You know, that.
Yeah.
And it was just funny. But yeah, I felt like a big deal there for about 2 minutes.
It feels neat for a quick second, and then it's just like, I don't know, it's kind of uggy. It's like, I had somebody the other day, and more power to it, was a former listener of mine named Moises. And I've known this dude since he was like a little kid.
Former listener?
Well, the other station.
Oh.
I'm still on the radio, dude. But he just goes, you're a legend. I'm like, okay, let's rein that in. Hold on.
Yeah.
Hot off the presses. Scripts.
Actually, is there one that's got a list of things?
Yes, there is.
That one I do need. I will take that one off your hands. Thank you. That's my laundry list.
Yes.
What I got to do today. No, I'm just kidding. That's something else I got to do later.
It's all the psas.
Yeah, I get that. I've joked before, and I'm half joking, half very serious. Is usually when people recognize me, it's the most inopportune time. It's always at a drive-thru at a fast food establishment, or my wife's car accident.
Right?
That was one years ago. That was back in the mix days.
Oh, yeah?
That one. My wife, I got a minute. I can do it real quick. My wife had gotten in a car accident. This was back when you and I were doing the Mix Morning show.
Right.
And it was actually on Sunset. And red light run. She calls me crying. You know, I've been in an accident, so I'm booking it to the accident to check on Kim and all that stuff. And I get there and kind of consoling Kim and talking with her and we're kind of off to the side. Next thing you know, a police officer comes up to me and taps like, I'm sorry, I don't mean to bother you, but are you the guy on the radio?
And this is back before that cameras in the studio.
She's crying and everything else, and I'm like, yes, I am. It's an inopportune time.
This is back when you had to get recognized for your voice.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah. It's 9 o'clock. We got to get you into Town Hall News. You're listening to 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM, KEND, Roswell, New Mexico. We'll be back on the other side of news. Don't go away. Don't get in an accident.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomason. With just 41 flight cancellations today, Southwest Airlines appears on a glide path for a return to normal operations.
For more than a week, Southwest customers have been feeling the pain of flight cancellations that began with a winter storm. Southwest hasn't said how many customers have been affected, but it's likely that far more than 1 million have had a flight canceled. Christina Ariazola tells WFAA TV in Dallas that after several flights from Florida to Texas were scrapped, she decided to drive. Then she had to search a sea of luggage at Dallas-Fort Worth for her bag that had been missing for 5 days.
I've never seen anything like this. This is absolutely crazy.
She eventually found it. I'm Donna Warder.
Buffalo, New York's bouncing back following the devastating and deadly winter storm. The streets of the city largely cleared of snow, and Buffalo is reopened. Tragically, 40 people died as a result of the storm in western New York. Another indication that electric vehicles are all the rage, and some circles may not be quite ready for prime time. Apparently, they don't go as far when it's cold.
According to AAA, electric vehicle owners will see a decrease in driving range, and that'll be compounded by the use of the vehicle's indoor climate control system. When the temperature drops below 20 degrees outside and the heater's used, the car's driving range drops by 41%. A AAA spokesman says as long as drivers understand that there are limitations when operating electric vehicles in more extreme climates, they are less likely to be caught off guard by an unexpected drop in driving range. Keith Peters reporting.
Volkswagen recalling nearly 42,000 Beetles because they have potentially dangerous Takata airbag inflators. Recall for Beetles from the 2015 and 16 model years. Stocks are lower on Wall Street. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Sleep Financial Group is not a law firm.
This story is called The Ugly Truth About Timeshare. If you think you've done your family a favor by buying a timeshare, you need my help. Hello, I'm Chuck McDowell, CEO and founder of Wesley Financial Group. 10 years ago, I started helping folks cancel their timeshare, and in the process started what's now called the timeshare cancellation industry. Timeshare is the only thing that you can buy that you can't tell me how much it's going to cost or when it's going to end. When you buy a timeshare, you give them a blank check to fill out any amount they want for annual maintenance and assessment fees. The crazy thing is, this never ends. Even when you die, your family's now going to be stuck with this burden. Stop the insanity today. Call my office now. If we take you as a client, I guarantee we'll cancel your timeshare or you'll pay nothing.
Call for your free information kit. 800-626-5252. That's 800-626-5252. 800-626-5252.
Some of former British Prime Minister Tony Blair's words many years ago are coming back to haunt him. Blair had pushed for giving Russia's Vladimir Putin a larger role in international affairs.
The former KGB officer Vladimir Putin had been in power for just under a year when Tony Blair argued that he should be given a seat at the international top table in order to encourage him to adopt Western values. The two leaders also discussed cooperation on Russian energy supplies. But an internal No. 10 briefing note from January 2001 warned that Russian spying in the UK was already back to Cold War levels, and that Russian intelligence continued to post hostile officers to work against British interests worldwide.
That's the BBC's Frank Gardner. Israel's military says a prosecutor has filed indictments against 2 soldiers. They allegedly hurled an explosive device at a Palestinian home in the West Bank last month. News and analysis at townhall.com. A House majority gives Republicans a chance to take on ESG investing.
Republicans are expected to crack down on environmental and socially conscious investing, known as ESG, when they retake the House next year. ESG, which stands for Environmental, Social, and Governance Investing, is a broad term for attempts to invest ethically and can include actions by the government, investment firms, and banks or individuals. Proponents of ESG see it as a way to invest in companies seen as having a positive impact or that meet a set of environmental and social standards. Republicans have also raised concerns that money managers who take these factors into account may do so at the expense of profits for their clients. Bernie Bennett in Washington.
The House committee is releasing 6 years of former President Trump's tax returns today. The Democrat-controlled House Ways and Means Committee voted last week to release the returns that Mr. Trump had been trying to keep private. Former president says it's part of a political war against him. More on these stories, townhall.com.
What in the wide, wide world of sports is going on here?
I promise you, whatever scum did this, not one man in this force will rest for 1 minute until he's behind bars. Now let's grab a bite to eat. Yeah, come on.
I feel the hot wind on my shoulder and the touch of a world that is older. I hit the switch and check the number. I leave it on and then I slumber. I hear the rhythm ringing through it. Flamenco guitar and cumbia music. I hear the talking of the DJ. The traveler said, what does he say? I'm on a Mexican radio. I'm on a Mexican radio.
Broadcasting live from high atop the J.P. White Building in downtown Roswell, New Mexico. It's Mornings with Mike Winters on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM.
Is that what I sound like when I talk?
Now, here's your host, Mike Winters.
And good morning. It is 6 minutes after 9 o'clock. Welcome to hour number 3.
Tres Inviernos.
The final Tres Inviernos.
Tres Inviernos.
2022. That's right. Welcome to the last show of this year.
Welcome to the rodeo.
Yeah, the final hour of the final show.
That's right. So,
you all right?
Yeah, I just got a little bubble.
Verklempt.
There's this, okay, in doing all this like deep dive weirdness with the Jehovah's Witness Church and all that.
Oh yeah, you've been going down that rabbit hole of documentaries for months now.
There's this dude, he's one of the governing bodies, which, okay, so the Jehovah's Witness Church is basically ruled over by these 8 dudes who all live together in New York, and they said they are the voice of God on earth. Okay. They're called the governing body. So
there's this one of the dudes in the governing body is this dude named Stephen Len. He talks like he talks very weird with his face, and he makes weird facial expressions.
What do you mean? But
he's famous for saying this line like a couple of years ago, right when COVID first started. And he said, things unwrapping around us make it evident that we are living in the final part of the last days. Surely the final part of the final part of the last days, which is close to the last day of the last days. It's this whole thing. So every time I hear you say the final, I keep thinking the final part of the final part of the last days.
Well, according to many people like him, we've come to the end of the world at least a dozen times in the last 5 years.
No, dude, it's... I won't get into it. There's a whole thing, dude. Apparently, Jesus came back invisibly in 1914. There's a whole thing about it. Yeah.
If
I wasn't going to offend an entire group of people that I know aren't listening to this show anyways because they don't affiliate with anything political.
Yeah.
I'm
a Christian. I believe in minding your P's and Q's and doing your thing, but there's a lot of profit to be made in doomsday prepping and end of times fear mongering.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people that take advantage of that. That's all I'm saying.
That got into this whole other rabbit hole about Kenneth Copeland. It's a whole thing.
Yeah. Bless you.
Yeah. That's yeah.
Bless you.
If you ever decide to give me a podcast where I'm not set to offend anybody in the community or a sponsor, boy.
Yeah. I ain't gonna lie. That there have been days where I want that desire and want to do it. However, I know if I say exactly what you just said, I will say things.
It's not even things that are offensive. It's just I don't want to upset a group.
Sure. Well, yeah, because be honest, I have my opinions,
right?
And some of you I don't think are very smart, and I might say that. And I'm okay with it. I don't mind it too much, but I don't want it to blow back here.
Right.
I don't want to do the good stuff when we want to be in a place to anybody that wants to come and be good for our community. I want them to come here and do that.
Right.
And I am afraid that if I did a podcast where I kind of peel back the curtain and talk about my opinions.
Now, are you saying you're afraid your inner Yeezy might come out?
No, I'm not. Well, some people would definitely think different of me when they hear me speak.
Sure.
Off mic.
Okay.
Yeah. That being said, me personally, I think I'm pretty spot on what I think and do. Because it's me and my brain, and I'm thinking, I think I'm pretty with it.
You just don't have a filter. You'll just say it, and you'll say it in a very cold, rude manner.
And to be honest, and I'm not trying to braggart, but it is a flaw. I can be brutally honest sometimes.
Sure.
Where I go to the point of
over brutal.
I should have not said that because even though it's correct, it's doing nothing but hurt feelings. But the older I get, the less patience I have for people's feelings too.
Right.
I was more considerate of them in my younger days. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not a complete animal, but because of the world we live in, where people can't wait to be victims, I'm a little less sympathetic to those ears.
Sure.
Now.
That makes sense.
You cried wolf one too many times on me. All right. Yeah. You're dealing with first world problems instead of real world problems. That's all I'm saying.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Anyway, we gotta get to stop flapping our gums. But yeah, I would love to do that.
I'm just saying.
But I'd have to put a major disclaimer on the thoughts and views here
100%.
are just what I'm doing, in no way, shape. If I offend, just turn it off.
I was never a huge fan of Michael Savage, but I did like the phrase that he used as a disclaimer before his show, which was psychological nudity.
Yeah. My thing with Savage is too much of an egomaniac. See, that's my thing is I can be just as jerky, but and maybe I'm getting narcissistic here or something, but I feel like when I say it, it's not about me. From my head, it's just I'm seeing it and calling my shots.
Right.
and it's an observation. And so that's where I think, in my head, I feel like it's different. It's like, look, I have my opinions. My opinion is not what I'm sharing here. What I'm sharing is, this is what you did. This is the repercussions for what you did. Deal with it.
Right.
Sorry.
Right.
I feel bad for you, but you made that bed. You lie in it. That's how the world works.
Right.
You know?
You, much like Jay-Z, are just an observer.
That's right.
You're having financial problems. I feel bad for you, son.
Yeah. Well, it's just people will sit there and spout, do, and then go look at your own backyard. So go look at your own backyard.
Yeah.
Before you start telling people how to live.
Or have a backyard.
Just
Mike.
my thought.
Rub it in.
Anyway, we're going to get our interview going with the DA's office here. So let's go ahead and get you up to date on the weather.
I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton with your Pecos Valley weather. We have low pressure over our area and another storm system moving in from the Pacific Northwest, but the rain should hold off until Sunday night. It'll be fair today with our afternoon high in the upper 50s, mid-30s and clear for the overnight hours, warming into the mid-60s, and we get sunshine on Saturday, turning cloudy for New Year's Day, and mid to upper 60s, showers Monday. That's your latest forecast. I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton.
Thank you, Steve. Currently 40 degrees here in Roswell. Humidity is at 58%. Winds currently out of the southwest at 3 miles per hour. Mostly sunny today. 56 our expected high with west winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. Partly cloudy tonight with an overnight low of 34 degrees. Winds out of the southwest 5 to 10. Saturday, New Year's Eve, partly cloudy. 66 for a high tomorrow with southwest winds 5 to 10. Tomorrow night, when you go out to ring in the new year, expect mostly cloudy skies with an overnight low of 38 degrees with west winds 5 to 10. New Year's Day, Sunday, mostly cloudy, 64 for a high, south winds 5 to 15 miles per hour. Sunday night, they're saying a chance of rain, 30% chance of showers, mostly cloudy, overnight low of 39. And then looks like most of next week will be hanging out in the mid-50s, sunny and breezy on Monday, 56 for a high there. All right, 9:14, we're going to take a quick commercial break, and then we're going to play our interview with Dennis Kentai and Gina Yeager from the District Attorney's Office. Don't go away. You're listening to Mornings with Mike Winters.
For over 40 years, Sierra Blanca Motors here in Roswell have been providing locals with quality vehicles and are committed to providing you quality vehicles and service for many years to come. No sales gimmicks, no inflated pricing, just a quality pre-owned vehicle listed at retail pricing or less. Have a used vehicle to sell? Get top trade-in value or an amazing cash offer today. Let Danny or Jose provide you a great car buying experience. Call 575-622-7907. Or stop by Sierra Blanca Motors at 720 South Main Street in Roswell. Se habla español.
The best burrito in the game just got a brand new location. Burritos and More, now open at 2506 North Main across from Goodwill in Roswell. So what makes Burritos and More the best burrito in the game? It's simple. The freshest ingredients, homemade tortillas, and a huge menu chock full of all your breakfast and lunch favorites. Plus, enchiladas, fajitas, quesadillas, combo platters, and so much more. Open Monday through Saturday, 6 to 2 at 127 South Richardson and at their brand new location, 2506 North Main, across from Goodwill in Roswell. Burritos and More, the best burrito in the game.
This is John.
Hey, my name is John Jackson.
He's not some actor. He's a steward of the land with a John Deere 3 Series tractor. John runs with us. Nothing runs like a deer. Get a 3 Series tractor with 0% APR for 72 months at your John Deere dealer today. For additional cost information, please call toll-free 855-633-2316.
Stop by Pecos Valley Equipment in Artesia or Roswell, or visit us online at pecosvalleyequipment.com.
Here's a Mornings with Mike Winters fun fact. Due to extreme pressure and weather conditions, it literally rains diamonds on Neptune and Uranus. Stop snickering because I said Uranus. Here's Mike Winters.
And good morning. It is 20 minutes after 9 o'clock. Dennis remembers. Yeah, he's been there, got that T-shirt a few times. But joining us in studio this morning from the District Attorney's Office here, we have Dennis Kentai. Yep. And then, of course, also who, I guess, you wear multiple titles and hats, but victim advocate would probably a pretty good encompassing title, or is it bigger than?
It's bigger than that. But
Okay,
that's one
it's a
of the
good
ones
start.
Yes,
we'll go with that as a good start.
Well, how about a name?
There we go. Oh, did I not?
No.
Gina Yeager. I'm sorry. I got so sidetracked in titles, I forgot to say Gina Yeager.
Hello.
Oh, and then, of course, we got another guest in studio as well. One of the support dogs that are there to help with, when they're talking and working with some of the victims and things. Kind of like many people hear about the Casa dogs and what Casa does for the same concept, same thing here. But not only is it just for the kids, but for all the victims here. So, but Kiki, our looks like a lab of some kind, like a yellow lab.
She is a yellow lab.
I think she's full. Is she full blood?
Yes, sir.
She looks pretty full blood.
Yes.
She's such a good dog.
She
you won't even
knows
she's
you're talking about her. Her head just popped up.
Even on camera, it's hard to find her because she's kind of nestled under the table here. But she's here with us as well. So, good morning.
Good morning.
That's all right. We haven't gotten in there yet. So.
Oh, day.
So I'm kind of curious, but before we kind of get into to what all you do, Gina, because we know as mayor, you've been the mayor for the last several years here, and we know you as a cop and many other things.
Yeah, but can't hold a job.
Yeah. But I'm curious, what's your role at the district attorney's office?
Well, that's kind of interesting. Yeah, I do investigations. I'm actually the business card. I love the business card. It says special programs, kind of an MIB sounding title.
Okay.
But what they've got me doing primarily is reviewing cases. COVID really, and Jesus can really.
So it's kind of that connection with the COVID world and regular world. Some of this is kind of spawned from that.
Yes. Well, COVID backed up the judicial system big time, and so there's cases just backed up that haven't been able to move through.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And some of them have been sadly delayed for years.
I have a case from 2014.
Oh, wow. So there's big backlog there.
So part of my job is, go back, look at those. Do we still have, the key players? Are those witnesses still around? How do we find them? How do we get a hold of them?
So is it kind of like the cold cases almost a little
Not
bit?
Not quite.
But in that genre at least?
Something like that.
Stuff that's been kind of put on a back burner because we couldn't do it because the world wouldn't let us. Now we're going back and doing it.
And the other reality is that our prosecutors are busy. They are running from case to case. So part of my job is kind of like the freshman football team coach who scouts the next.
I gotcha.
So I walk into these prosecutors who are worrying about what they're going to do tomorrow, and I say, we need to talk about this case that's coming up in 2 months. And they look at me like I'm stinking crazy.
It's like, we don't have time to look at 2 months.
Sure.
We're focusing on this week.
No. We got to look at 2 months because if there's going to be any changes, if we're going to add evidence or witnesses, we got to do it now. Because if we do it too late, the courts won't let us.
Gotcha.
Correct.
That makes sense. And this is something this is part of the and by the way, I should have mentioned this earlier. This is a new monthly feature. Each month, this third Thursday of the month, we're going to have the district attorney's office come in and kind of share the public what's going on and talking a little bit about what you guys do and what everything that happens. But because we all know we all vote in elections. We all see the world that we live in. We see the court systems in the state of New Mexico, and you see the problems that are there. And that's where, as a district attorney's office, you guys have, regardless of there being problems, you still have to do it. But it's kind of like what you're talking about. You're like, hey, we got to worry about this now. You guys are like, I got 57 things to be done tomorrow that I got to worry about first before I worry about something that's 3 months down the road. And so, which both philosophies are correct, because you're right. You ain't got time for this mess. But at the same time, what's going on 3 months from now? If you do it now, it's going to save you a lot of headache when it comes up that this is due tomorrow.
Correct.
Does that make sense?
Exactly.
Am I kind of close on what's going on
and
there?
And most of the district attorney's offices, the DAs themselves carry over 200 cases.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're looking at 200 cases and those cases are backlogged and they keep adding, then it's kind of like, okay, we've got to get these done, and we just need extra eyes. Dennis has been our extra eyes to be like, oh, what about this? And it's like, oh, okay.
So you're like the triager that can kind of go ahead and say, all right, we can wrap this up quickly, or no, this is going to require.
And you're right. And some of them I've said, I'm sorry, but this case is not going to make it.
Gotcha.
It's got too many holes. People are not available. The witness has got too much baggage. The defense will eat them apart.
Sure.
And, those, I don't get to make the final decision. Obviously, that's up to the attorneys.
But you're the person that they look to gain the information on getting to make that decision.
Isn't like haven't been doing this for a while.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right.
And that's really and I imagine from your perspective, that's got to be helpful because it's okay. Now we can at least maybe at least try to eliminate the piles just not ending. We can at least I know it's not, but at least we can. All right, let's the simple stuff we can weed out or something, or the things that are, like Dennis was saying here. Yeah, in all theory, we should prosecute this case, but we're not going to get a conviction because the evidence just isn't there.
Sometimes, you talk to people, and if the case has been so delayed, the memories of those who were present has changed. They don't remember exactly what happened. They're over it. They're done. They don't want to mess with it.
Sure.
My greatest philosophy is I meet the most amazing people at their worst times in their lives.
Yeah. Gotcha. Yeah.
And so our job is to try to help them, whether it be finding them some counseling, finding some anger management, family counseling, individual counseling, figuring out something that will keep those families together.
Sure.
That's what we want to do.
Well, and I talked to the folks like from the Roswell Refuge and things like that are all the great agencies that support victims' rights and help victims. And abusers too, by the way. But I've heard enough of their stories and hear enough of the details of some of the things they deal with, which obviously you deal with the exact same stuff, just more on the legal level here. But there's domestic violence is all cycles. It's all, odds are that people that are abusers were probably abused as kids and things like, and so a lot of what you guys do is part of breaking the cycle. Or at least getting, so when you get a victim that's stepping forward and saying, and a lot of these cases have trouble getting prosecuted because change of hearts. People get convinced that it wasn't as bad or I'm going to change. And I'm all for giving people second chances. I get it. I understand you do wrong. You want to make amends. I get it. But when it comes to domestic violence, that is part of creating the cycle because all it takes is one too many times of give me another chance, and it ends in a death.
It does, and we see that quite often. And for the domestic violence cases, they're misdemeanors on our part. When they first start, the first one is it's a DV and it's a misdemeanor, and we have a diversion programs for the first time. I mean, everybody makes a mistake.
Sure.
Something happened.
You had a
moment. We understand, and we're not trying to throw everybody in jail. There's some that do belong in jail.
Yep.
But first time that made the mistake that are honestly wanting to make that change, the district attorney's office wants to help them. We want to make sure that those families don't get broken apart. We keep them together if that's what they want. But we want to break that cycle. So we have, for the misdemeanor part, we have a violence prevention program. It is a up to 2-year program that they have to do domestic violence offender treatment. They have to do anger management. They have to check in with probation.
Gotcha.
If there's drugs or alcohol involved, they have to get screened. And if probation sees
which probably 9 times out of 10 it is.
And getting them to change the cycle, to learn how to cope with those issues, is major.
Sure. It all really stems from mental health problems.
It does.
Really does. And the alcohol and drugs, at the end of the day, I believe, is people trying to self-medicate. And we all know where that goes. When that happens.
And this one program, we call it the VPP program, is if you get in that program and you successfully complete it, there is no conviction because you've proven to us that you want the
help.
We're
not trying to destroy you. We're trying to fix you or help you. Yes.
Help the family and fix it. And, of course, you do have the ones that have to go through several cycles before they come in and say, okay, I'm done.
Sure.
We are there. Our office is there for you guys. We want to be there to help.
You constantly want to see the progress.
We do.
We get there's going to be stumbles, and obviously, depending on the severity, we'll act accordingly. But we're not here to try to. You guys are there to want them to succeed, not to fail. Your job's not to make them fail. Your job is to help them be better. But at the end of the day, your number one priority is the victim, and that's who's going to get the most attention.
The victim and the community. We've got to keep them safe. That's our number one. And if the victim is the one that wants to make this work, then we'll make it. We'll do our part to get that help out there.
And let's face it, certain crimes out there, and when you talk about domestic violence, rape, sexual, any of that in that genre, it already evokes a burn them all and let God sort it out mentality. And I understand it. I sympathize with that mentality. I get it. But at the end of the day, legally we can't do that. Nor should we. It's not right to do that. I get vigilante justice. I get eye for an eye. I sympathize. I understand the sentiment. But in a civilized society, for it to function, we can't do that. No. And let's face it, as I said earlier, sometimes, not always, but sometimes the people that we quote-unquote label as evil were the victims that just slipped through the cracks, so to speak, and are now...
Yeah, but the challenge becomes once... I'm with you. I'm sympathetic up to the point where they start become the victimizer.
Yes. And then it's a problem, and we need to do it.
Then they take it on other people. I mean, this is... It gets to the point where you're not going to fix it anymore. Mm-hmm. This is not going to have a happy ending. You have to save. It's like
you're preserving as opposed to
and that means somebody's got to go away for a while.
Sure.
I mean, this. To be honest with you, 40 years in law enforcement and working in the systems, the dogs are really an interesting and new phenomenon because they didn't. They've been around for how long now?
2014 is what when we started the program.
I imagine it instantly de-escalates when, sure, it's not going to solve everything, but when people are on edge and then, a little bit nervous or a little bit apprehensive or a little defensive, the dogs can probably just kind of disarm people just a little bit enough to where we can get some work done.
The DA's office is not known for, come in and we're going to hug you and love you and you're all welcome. Yeah. I mean, most people don't see us that way.
Sure.
But having the dogs has helped us be more open to the community. The dogs are icebreakers. There's a friendly face, no judgment. We love you. Oh, look, you're here. You're here to see me. Yay. They help us in the community when we go out to the schools, when we get called out. The dogs are always the ones that are just... loved. Mm-hmm. Like I said, there's no judgment. The dogs don't care.
Sure.
And they've really helped us bring people in and know that we're actually human. Mm-hmm. Because when you hear the district attorney's office, it's kind of, government.
Well, you're
blah,
already
blah, blah.
Got to be on the defensive. They're out to get me in some way, shape, or form. And well, if you're a bad egg, then you're probably not far off. But if it's, like you said, people make mistakes. People do things, and if this is a situation where we can, quote unquote, make it a teachable moment, so to speak, we'd rather do that than make it a punishable moment. But like Dennis was saying, some people have gone past that point of no return.
And we don't. I mean, luckily we don't deal a lot with the defendants. We let their attorneys take care of that. Mm-hmm. Basically, we deal with the witnesses and the victims.
Sure.
And when they come in, it's like, I don't want to relive this. I don't want to do this.
Yeah.
But knowing that the dogs are there, they're like, oh, okay,
sure.
I have somebody that's on my side that won't say anything or judge me.
And I would imagine too, when it comes to the person that's done the stuff here, the person we're accused here, I would imagine too, all that depends on, as far as involvement in what you as a DA, district attorney's office, what you want to pursue from this person. A lot of that also reflects on how that person is handling the accusation. If they're not cooperative, they're not, showing remorse, things, you guys have no desire to want to try to be more helpful. Whereas if they're fighting you tooth and nail, you're like, guess what? We're going to throw the book at you. But if you're here to try to make amends, to try to fix, then you talk about sentencing and what we prosecute with, and whether this is a teachable moment versus a punishment.
And when we get to work, I'm sorry, Dennis. When we get to work with these victims, witnesses that come in our office, we build a rapport. It's not like on the first day that we're telling them we're doing this.
Sure.
First visit is we want to get to know you. We want to know your circumstances. We want you to fill in the puzzle for us because we're getting a report you're the person that was there.
Sure.
Please tell us exactly what happened. So then the first visit is more of we just want to get to know you, and we build that rapport, because you've got to build a rapport with people. Otherwise, you're not going to get that trust.
Well, and I imagine a lot of, because especially if you're dealing with domestic violence that's not new, we're there was a lot of indicators earlier. We're past those. We're at a farther along on this here. When you get to that point, this is where it gets tough for you guys, because the victims, they're dealing with mental health, and anybody that's a victim of domestic violence, there's certain things, certain reactions that you physically and emotionally and mentally do to protect yourself. You build walls. You don't trust. You don't come forth with things. You just internalize everything, and sometimes you have to break through all that to get them to admit to all the things that have happened to them. And because unfortunately, without that testimony, without that information, it's really hard to prosecute the abuser here.
Well, and most of the time when they come in the first time, it's like, well, it was an accident. This shouldn't have happened.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we have people that won't prosecute, which we understand. What we do is we tell them, okay, please call the police if there's something that happens. We're always here.
You give them the warning. It's
We're
like, look,
always here.
Based on our experience, this doesn't go away after one time if it's truly, I hope we're wrong.
Yes,
but
we
the
always say
moment
that.
anything smells funny, give us a call, because if you wait till it gets too big, it just might be too late.
And that's the one thing. We just don't want it to get to a homicide. We don't want it there. We want to make sure,
we
like
can walk
I said,
back some things, but we can't
there's
walk
some
back
things.
a death.
No.
Cannot do it.
And then you have too many kids that are left with no parents.
Yeah, absolutely.
One of the things that I've seen here, and it's really heartbreaking, and that Gina and her team work with, is delayed notification sexual abuse. In other words, something happened 5, 7, 10 years ago.
Gotcha.
And it's coming. Now, candidly, those are tough cases to make. You don't have physical evidence anymore. There's no DNA. Too many people watch CSI.
It's all he said, she said,
and then
testimony.
Our job as the investigators, both police and the DA's office, is to try and find a corroboration. Okay, they said this happened, and bam, how do we prove it? Who else was there? Whatever.
Sure.
But they're dealing with young women, usually, who, as a child, were sexually exploited. And that is, they're the walking wounded, for want of a better term. I mean,
even if they think they come out unscathed on that, they didn't.
Well, and there's a lot of, like you were talking about, you put your walls up, you protect yourself. But most people don't want to talk about what happened to them.
Sure.
Would you like to talk to 12 people about your last sexual experience?
Exactly. No. Of course
Strangers?
not.
Okay.
Yeah,
so,
I don't want to talk to my friends about it.
I know. So, it's just something that we have to think about.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people don't think about that.
Sure.
I mean, I wouldn't either.
Yeah.
I wouldn't.
It's just subjects you don't breach with
and
people.
You're talking about a young child, a young teenager that's just kept it and dealt with it.
Sure.
And now all of a sudden you're saying you have to tell, and you have to tell it to strangers.
I'm kind of curious, and I'm not trying to. Please don't take this as I'm trying to trivialize anything, because we live in a world where it's there's the he said, she said, two sides to every story. Obviously, taking domestic violence very serious, and whenever victims come forward and things like that. But do you guys come across the radar where you're like, okay, maybe this victim's not a victim? I mean, is that common? And what I mean by that is, and I'm not trying to, because I don't want to trivialize anybody's experience, but I know there are some bad people that want to get revenge on people, and they will lie and destroy their lives just to get that. I mean, does that even remotely happen
That's
as often
very
as people think it does?
uncommon to come to our office because of the investigation before.
Sure.
The officers and the deputies and the state police that are in this, they do a great job when they bring stuff to us. So if they have any questions, we sit together and we have a conversation about, this is what we're thinking, this is what we're showing, and then, of course, our investigators recheck everything.
Sure.
And then our DAs talk about the case. So before we prosecute, I mean, we look at everything before we try to slam somebody.
Odds are, if there's something don't smell right or with the story, it usually gets vetted out usually before it gets to you. But if it does, early on, then there's enough people with eyeballs on it that are pretty good at seeing legitimate issues versus something that sounds like somebody made up.
Of course, because we bring in the witnesses and the alleged victim, the person that's reported, and they tell us their story.
Sure.
And if it doesn't match, we have to go back and look, and we have to review.
Well, and I imagine, not to put another comparison, but it's almost that stolen valor mindset where people that served in the military that did things, people that actually did it, there's a certain mindset about it. Yep. And all of them to a person act that way. And I imagine domestic violence is similar. If you're a victim of domestic violence and it's real and it's happened, there's a PTSD factor there that you just certain personality traits, things that are indicators where someone who's never really experienced that and is trying to compare themselves to that, you're going to see that difference. Is that make sense what I'm saying?
But I want to come back to this whole what an incredible job the victim advocates do.
Sure.
In because this is a new concept. Like I said, it didn't exist 40 years ago when I started, and
it's involving much more psychology into it.
And these oftentimes, almost always, women coming in, and you're right, talking about a sexual experience they had when they were 11.
Mm-hmm.
And trying to discuss it now at 18 or 21, two strangers. I can't do that interview. I can't have that conflict.
It takes a mindset.
And Gina's got to do it, and she's got to be that buffer, go between the investigators and the victims, because they are. I cannot minimize how hurt these victims have been.
Well,
and here's one thing I would like to get out today. Anybody listening, if you're out there and you've been a victim, there are people here who will treat you with grace and dignity, respect, and it's going to be hard, but we'll do everything we can to help you. Do not allow it to continue.
Establishing the trust between you, the victim, and the investigators and the folks, because obviously I think it's a safe bet that 99% of the victims have trust issues, because when you're a victim, and that's been doing, it's just natural to have trust issues.
Well, most of the time they're isolated. It's not always the case, but a lot of times they're isolated from friends and family. They don't work. So they're just left to rely on this one person.
That makes sense, yeah. Their whole world is that person.
But it's not always the case. I mean...
And that's a tool of the abuser, by the way. If you want to control, then you give the illusion that the person that you're trying to control has no other option. And so they...
Well, you know that really well.
I talk so much about that. I understand you know what I mean?
Just checking.
Yeah. No, maybe I'm not smart enough to be controlling anybody. But anyway, but that's part of the playbook, so to speak. When people are that and the people that do nefarious things knowingly know that it's not good, they are pretty good at masking and deflecting and. But look at a guy like Jeffrey Dahmer. He should have been caught so many years ago, but because of a lot of, misdirects and things like that, he went on a long time.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's just.
That happens. That happens.
But you know what I mean. It's. I'm not trying to. It happens. No. What happens, but if people don't observe, if people don't notice these things, people don't stand up and do something about it, then things like that happen. And that's what you guys are trying to avoid.
Right.
And with the really talking with people and treating people in a manner and trying to take what is an investigation, but trying to put it in an environment that doesn't feel like an investigation, that's hard, but it's also... You're seeing great results because now people are willing to open up.
Correct.
People are willing to share their stories.
Yes,
as opposed to keep it silent.
And this is where the to me I'm finding it so intriguing. The whole concept of this creature. Now, the dog.
Mm-hmm.
And
Dennis is old school.
Yeah, I'm old school. I'm
nothing wrong with that.
But I've seen here where, these victims come in, and Gina's talking about that breaking down, and you mentioned there's no trust. The dog is the first step in creating that trust.
And then think about it, because I think human nature is, well, if the dog likes them, they must have some good quality.
Correct.
You know
Correct.
what I mean? And that's a sniff test for humans.
Right.
You know?
And the dogs, dogs are one of our amazing tools that we have at the district attorney's office. And we're always looking to make it better for people when they come in, that it's not so scary. It is going to be scary. It is going, because it's your life.
Yeah.
But we want to let everybody know that we're here. We're not trying to throw everybody in jail. Yes, the ones that need to go.
Sure. Yeah.
Of course. But the ones that just need that help.
Sure.
To figure out which way I need to go. What do I need to do to make my family happier?
Well, those are your best advocates for on the other. When they, in essence, did the bad thing, and they see the error. Those are usually the ones that pay it forward, and the advocates for the victims of which they were abusing earlier.
Now, one of the things that to me is what's very intriguing is the courtroom. Now, like I said, doing this for a very long time, and I've been on the witness stand, and I can assure you, being cross-examined is an unpleasant experience. But I'm an old pro, and I can go in there and I can deal with it. I know what the defense attorney's going to do. I know what his objective is, and they're doing their job.
The unknown is not a variable for you.
Yeah, they know it. But you end up, this is the first time this victim has ever, and Gina's talking about telling 12 strangers, and they can have a friend with them.
Yeah, we have the program where they, of course the children, but other victims too, if they really need support. We are using the dogs in the courtroom to lay on their feet or lay by them, and they hold the leash, so they have somebody right there with them.
It's a physical, and I get that,
And also, we teach them a couple commands. So we tell them, let's go, down, stay. They have control of the leash. It's the first time in their life they've had control in so long that they stand a little taller. They're like, oh, I've got this.
It makes complete sense.
It makes such a difference. And so
Wouldn't
we're
think
seeing
about
that.
it, but the moment you say it, you're like, well, that
so
makes
we're
sense.
learning that, and it's been a great help for not only the advocates, the attorneys, the victims, defense attorneys. They actually get the truth, not sit there twiddling, and they actually get the story out.
Sure.
Maybe not so much for the defense attorneys, but for the DA's office, it's great.
Sure.
We get justice. We get the truth. That's what we want. And Katie's agreeing with me. But the dogs have been amazing in helping us through the justice system, helping these people in our community.
Yeah. It brings familiarity and comfort to what can be an uncomfortable environment for somebody. And anytime you can do that, that's a good thing. And anytime that, something as simple as having a dog hanging out with you is the key to making someone comfortable enough to share their experience, then that's a home run out of the park right there, and easy. You could come up with the most convoluted programs out there, but at the end of the day, it ain't going to beat a dog hanging out with a person for 5 minutes and make them feel better.
And I'm really proud of our district attorney's office, because this is not a program that's throughout the state.
Sure.
Our DA's office, the 5th, for Travis, Eddy, and Lee,
kind of forward-thinking ideology.
We have 4 dogs for our area.
Which, by the way, because of the training and everything they go through, it's not exactly. It's not like going to the Humane Society and paying $50 and adopting a dog. There's an extensive
2-year
training
program.
I imagine it costs quite a bit of money to put a dog through this training and everything else.
It's very expensive, and yes.
That money being spent probably paid back in much bigger dividends than any other convoluted program that's come out there.
Why don't you talk about the funding for it?
So the funding, because the state budgets are always cut for the DA's offices.
We have no friends in Santa Fe.
Yeah. So the dogs are leased to the DA's office for $25.
So you don't pay? Do they come take them?
For each dog.
We're here to We're here to repossess your dogs.
Well, we as victim advocates and handlers created a nonprofit.
Oh, gotcha.
For the dogs.
So they're taken care of.
So our dogs are taken care of by our foundation.
Good deal.
We purchase, we supply food, vet, we get sponsors, donors for all of their stuff.
Those dogs are yours.
The dogs aren't
for the
going
rest
anywhere.
of their lives.
We wanted to make sure the dogs didn't go anywhere because of everything they did.
So kind of curious. Now, obviously, these dogs aren't like police dogs, so they're not necessarily out in fields and hunting and looking for things like that. They spend most of their time, indoors and with people and things. What's the serve? Like, can these dogs serve? Once they complete their training, do they serve pretty much as long as they're healthy enough to the rest of their lives, or is there a certain time point like, oh, they hit 10, they got to be retired or something?
Well, depending on their health and like I said, this is our second set. We're on generation 2.
Okay.
We've had other dogs that have retired. Some of them got retired early because of COVID.
Gotcha.
My first dog, Lincoln, retired early due to health issues.
I gotcha.
So what we were going to do, instead of not working in the courtroom, we were going to have them as a greeter dog.
Okay.
So they could still be in the office for personnel, for officers that come in. They come down and play all the time.
Gotcha.
But for just a happy experience for our own people. So that's what the plan is.
In essence, when their days are done working, they get the homeowner or the
handler.
The handler is now just the come home with me and
because these dogs don't like to be home. They would rather be around lots of people
gotcha.
and working.
That's what they're used to.
Yes. So
they go home. And then they bring them to parties and things. When your Christmas party, bring your dog because the dog needs some social time.
Yeah, well, the dogs when they're home and off vest and off leash are regular dogs.
Yeah, I gotcha. They just do their regular dog.
They do this craziness. So
Kiki here. What's Kiki's? Every dog has quirks. I know it. They all do. What's Kiki's?
Lack of personal space.
See, that's an asset to me, not a liability. I like that.
But a lot of people don't like them jumping. But sorry, baby, come here.
Got spooked there.
Come here.
Sorry about that.
I think maybe something ran over.
I ran over to.
Oops, sorry.
Kiki.
But this is great. And so I would imagine, just out of curiosity, if people are listening to this and want to get more involved on the fundage for dogs and things, is there a way to do that for people to donate and getting to do this? Because
funny you ask, Mike.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of people that are listening thinking, what a great idea. I don't want them to have to lease them from the state. Let's see if we can get them where they can own their own
no,
dog.
the state leases them from our foundation.
Oh, I got you. Okay, I apologize.
Yes, but like I said, we fund everything, and with our sponsors and everything, we do fundraisers. So our nonprofit, of course, is 5th DA Dogs, Court Facility Dogs. It's a 501. Of course, I'm the executive director, and my phone number is 575-626-2422, and our P.O. Box, if you want to help, is P.O. Box 8160,
okay.
Roswell, New Mexico.
I imagine if you call the district attorney's office and ask for Gina, they can put you right through to her.
Oh, yeah.
Say, I heard you on the radio. I'd love to get involved with the dogs. How can I contribute? Can I pet them?
Yeah. And if anybody wants to meet them, of course, call us. We don't mind.
Yeah.
The more, the merrier.
You don't have to go to the court system to
Please
meet the dogs.
don't.
We can make arrangements.
Yes. We like seeing you outside the courtroom, so please.
And we're running out of time, but I kind of leave one last note here. If you're a victim of domestic violence, if you're suffering right now, do something about it. Call the Roswell Refuge. They have a 24-hour hotline. Day or night, you can call that number. I wish I had it in front of me. I don't. We'll make sure we get it to folks. And you're in the driver's seat when that phone call. If you just want an ear to bend, that's what it's there for. If you're ready to break away from your situation or do something more than that, they're also available to you as well. It's anonymous. It's a 24/7. It's free of charge. And by the way, also another great, which I'm sure you've worked with constantly, is the SANE program, which is kind of an offshoot of the Roswell Refuge, and they deal with victims of sexual assault. If and they first deal medically, and they'll treat medically, and if the victim wishes to prosecute, they will help with the collection of evidence and all the things to get to your office to take the next steps here. But reach out to these folks 24/7. They are here to help, even if you just want to talk, or if you suspect domestic violence, something going on, not really sure how to handle it. Call that number. Let them talk to you, because that's the biggest problem with domestic violence is people kind of ignoring and turning their head and saying that's none of my business. I need to stay out of that. No, when it comes to people and domestic violence, it's everyone's business.
So my last note is I just want to let everybody know the district attorney's office is here for you. That's what we're here for,
Absolutely.
Is our community.
Call
us.
And reach out.
Reach out, police, 911. If there's something, please ask for help. Absolutely.
And it's all here to serve the public and to make our and to be honest, I think, and this is why I like our monthly things here, Dennis, is the more you know, the less BS you're going to buy. That's what I mean. Because in the world we live in, people tell you anything out there, and people just take it as gospel. And then labels, you hear district attorney, oh, they're the bad guys, or, and I'm like, well, see from their perspective, and you'll be like, dang, all right, they make a lot more sense. This is and so I think I love this because we're going to see the district attorney's perspective and see what you guys deal with every day.
Now, with Gina's help, I'm going to get Diana Luce, the district attorney, here soon.
Okay.
Hopefully next month.
All right.
We'll work on her.
Perfect.
Depending on trials.
Yeah, because
and you might need to bring a dog in for a little bonus incentive.
Because Diana Luce is a prosecuting district attorney. There are a lot of district attorneys that she does trials.
Sure.
She's in the courtroom.
She's serving as a lawyer, as an attorney.
And she's trying to run the office. Yeah, she comes in and she eats her lunch in the office.
She has her own caseload of cases she's working on.
Yes,
not just delegating cases to other attorneys.
She does have a caseload.
Yeah,
which I imagine just because of the world we live in, she probably because
and she takes the heavy hits.
Yeah, and
she'll do the homicide.
Well, that's a leader. Leaders like if I'm not, I won't give to my people something I won't do myself, and that's which is a good characteristic of a leader.
Yes.
Very good. Well, thank you guys for coming in. Appreciate the work you guys do, and thank you for sharing, and thank you for bringing Kiki along. And
thank you.
And we look forward to more conversations here. And who knows, maybe one day we're domestic violence things will be much less. And
I would love to be out of a job.
Hey, to a point where
I could actually retire. Really retire?
Where you guys are like,
I don't know how to do that.
All my cases are good for this week. What do you mean? I'm caught up.
Right.
Huh? I mean, that would be amazing.
Yes.
So, good deal. Well, thank you guys, and we'll see you next time. And Merry Christmas. If I don't see you all before then.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
All right, it is 7:58. Quick break before they make me leave the airwaves. So we'll be back. Don't go away. Well, kind of.
Valley News Update. I'm Jared Cirillo. A former Artesia rancher is named the 2022 New Mexico Cattle Growers Association Cattleman of the Year. Darrell Brown received the award during the Joint Stockmen's Convention December 14th through 17th in Albuquerque. He was born there in Albuquerque, but Brown took a job in 1985 in Artesia as a ranch manager for Yates Petroleum Fort Dinkus Ranch west of Artesia. While there, he fostered a partnership with Artesia Public Schools, allowing elementary school children to learn the inner workings of agriculture. New Mexico Attorney General Hector Balderas is asking that changes be made to rules proposed by the U.S. government as it processes damage claims from an historic wildfire sparked by forest managers. Balderas filed comments on the Hermit's Peak Calf Canyon fire assistance regulations this week, outlining his concerns over limitations on damages, the lack of a clear appeals process, and leadership of the team that will oversee the claims process. You're up to date. I'm Jared Cirillo reporting.
Your morning espresso starts right here. It's the Sean Hannity Morning Minute.
Can any American look at what happened in Nevada and Arizona and Alaska, and we're still counting votes for congressional seats in California, and say that this is the best we can do? Is there anybody that thinks this system is actually good? Because I don't think so, which breaks the case for same day, paper ballots, all across the country, photo ID, partisan observers watching all the voting, watching the vote counting, just like they do in Great Britain and France and Canada and all these other countries, and you get the results, all of them, the night of the election. Why don't we switch to that system? Is there anybody that thinks that system's unfair? I don't think it's unfair. I think it's fair for everybody.
The Sean Hannity Show from coast to coast later today.
Hey, do you want to improve your shooting? Of course you do. Now, you're going to love Mantis X. Now, they have improved my shooting dramatically. It is a must-have for every responsible gun owner. Now, the Mantis X is a high-tech but simple-to-use system used extensively, by the way, by the military, and it improves your shooting quickly and will give you the confidence in your ability to protect what you love. Now, here's how it works. You attach the Mantis X to your firearm. You connect with an app on your smartphone or tablet or Bluetooth. It gives instant feedback on what you're doing right, what you're doing wrong, and how to correct your technique. Now, the Mantis X is like a firearms instructor right in your pocket, and 94% of shooters improve within 20 minutes using Mantis X. And Mantis X is the best way to train at home. No driving to the range, no spending money on range fees and ammo. You're going to save a ton of money and improve your shooting. So start improving today. Just go to mantisx.com. That's MANTISX.com.
With the Wall Street Business Report, I'm Rich Thomason. Southwest Airlines expecting a return to normal operations today after slashing about two-thirds of its schedule in recent days. Carrier suffering a major meltdown in the midst of the winter storm. This morning's number of Southwest flight cancellations far fewer than in the past few days. Economists are baffled by a wider than expected divergence between long-term mortgage rates and the yield on the benchmark U.S. government bond. It's driving a sharp rise in borrowing costs and helping to sink the housing market in the U.S. Volkswagen is recalling nearly 42,000 Beetles in the U.S. and Canada because they have potentially dangerous Takata airbag inflators. Recall covering Beetles from the 2015 and 16 model years. Asian stocks higher while Europe and Wall Street opened lower this morning. As most major markets on track for big annual losses. For the Wall Street Business Report, I'm Rich Thomason.
At Roswell Honda, they want to earn your trust, then earn your business. Whether it's sales or service, their Spanish-speaking sales reps and service department techs will take great care of you. They have the largest selection of trusted pre-owned vehicles in the state, lower payments, and dependable vehicles. And if you need service, think Roswell Honda. With their multi-point inspection, you and your family can sleep well knowing your vehicle is ready for whatever the road of life throws your way. At Roswell Honda, they want to earn your business. 2177 West 2nd.
Talk radio has landed on the all-new 106.5 FM KEND Roswell.
And we are closing in on 10 o'clock. That's going to do it for us for 2022. We'll be back bright and early Tuesday morning with an all-new show. We'll take the Monday off and be back Tuesday with an all-new show. I hope all of you have an amazing New Year's weekend. Have fun. Ring in the New Year. Celebrate safe. Don't be stupid.
Happy New Year, Roswell.
And have fun. Yeah. All right, we got to go. We'll talk to you bright and early Tuesday morning. Take care, and we'll see you in the new year.
See you next year.
Enjoy. All right, you're listening to 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM, KEND, Roswell, New Mexico. We'll be back on Tuesday. We'll see you then. Take care.
Breaking news this hour from townhall.com. I'm John Scott. That's the sound of the opening bell on the New York Stock Exchange. Stocks lower on Wall Street, leaving the S&P 500 on track to end 2022 with its worst loss since the financial crisis 14 years ago. The Nasdaq and Dow also on course to end the year with losses. The air travel debacle of this week appears to be improving. Southwest Airlines is returning to a relatively normal flight schedule. The Dallas carrier reporting less than 40 cancellations earlier today. There are still problems with lost luggage. At DFW Airport, traveler Christina Ariozola says it's a good sign that other travelers are finding their bags.
I'm a little hopeful just because they found theirs. So